I'd like to welcome everyone. I strongly believe that this subject is what you will be glad you are in class for, because business rise and fall on these subjects. So I'd like to welcome you sincerely. I will just show you his resume, and I will hand over to Dr. Jacob will take it off from there. We shared it earlier, and I'm expecting, I believe that you already seen this on your platform. So I will not waste time. Is Dr. Jacob in the room? Let me unmute you. You can actually unmute yourself because you are yes. Okay, you are already unmuted. Okay, you can unmute yourself and leave it on. Unmute yourself, Dr. Jacob, and take it off from me. Good morning, everyone. Dr. Jacob, over to you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. We can't hear you. Are you speaking?
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you. I can hear you.
We can hear you, sir.
Hello, sir.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm to talk over. I was not hearing. Hello?
We can
hear
you clear, sir.
We can hear you, Dr. Jacob.
Hello?
Ah.
Hello?
All right, I will just are you back now? All right,
Hello?
I just
Are you hearing me?
Teddy, like we know, is the CEO of DreamWorks Systems, and under his leadership, the company has done excellently well. They have delivered innovative solutions, and he's a strategic IT planning and executive. So this morning, we are pleased to have him take us through this particular course. So I'd like to welcome you, sir. If you can hear me, you can take over from here. Good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning, Dr. Samuel, and good morning, everyone. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Beautiful. I believe it's going to be an opportunity for us all to learn, to network, and to move our businesses forward. I also believe that it will be an opportunity to learn, to unlearn some of the things that we know, and then to possibly relearn. I look forward to an exciting learning experience with everyone this morning. Dr. Samuel, I'd like to thank you very specially for the privilege and the opportunity to be part of what the National Open University is doing, particularly at the Directorate of Entrepreneurship and General Studies. Dr. Alabi, our rapporteur for today, thank you also for making our time to be here. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen, and then we can hit the ground running. Please, if you can see my screen, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see, we can see.
Okay, so the
we can see it, sir.
Oh, that's fine, that's fine. Please do me the favor of unmuting yourself, of muting yourself, your speakers, so we don't have network interruptions. Let's just set a few house rules so that it can be a seamless period of learning for us all. I also like to encourage that everyone should try and get a biro and a jotter. I'll be sharing a lot of ideas and insights, some of which might not even be on the course material. So please ensure that you have the necessary writing materials that will aid this period of learning for us all. So the course of today, for the purpose of our time, is NEE 003, and it is referred to as value chain and record keeping. Dr. Samuel, our director, started on a very strong note, trying to explain the essence of, this course as far as business is concerned, whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur, a budding entrepreneur, or even an established entrepreneur. Value chain and record keeping are two critical success factors that all businesses must leverage on if you have to survive in the world of business. Whether you are a startup, an MSME, a multinational, I'm sure in the course of this learning, we will see the reasons why I am underscoring all of the things that I have said a moment ago. All right, I hope you can see the next slide.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Yes, sir.
For us, that's the table of content this morning. We are going to be looking at, just to give us a heads up as to some of the things that we're going to be learning this morning, understanding the value chain, particularly the primary activities versus the support activities as far as the value chain is concerned. Somebody's audio is still unmuted. Please help us so that this can be a great experience for us all. Please ensure to mute your audio. Thank you very much. Section 2 of this presentation will be talking about value chain analysis for startups. And then that will take us to value chain integration and collaboration, supply chain management in the value chain disruption and innovation, and then finally, record keeping. Please don't be unsettled by the big business terminologies as far as this table of content is concerned. Part of my job here is to attempt to break it down to ensure that we all learn and understand some of these concepts. All right, that takes me to this screen. How many of us can see this screen?
We can
Yes,
see it.
sir, we can.
Good. So I can just continue. We're on slide 3. So unique value proposition. Business is about creating values. What value system or what value is your business adding to your target audience, and in a business case, your target customers? Why should I buy from you? Why should I buy your product? Why should I patronize your product? Gone are the days when we buy certain things because of course, a few, sorry, some audios are still interrupting. Our rapporteur, Sir Dr. Alabi, can you help us, please?
Please, inductees, please, let's keep decorum, please.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear. Yes,
all right.
please.
Every business is expected to create value. And if your business is not creating value, I was saying just before we had this interruption, that gone are the days when people buy, although some people still have some sort of emotional attachment to certain products and services. But you see, in this era where it is the customer that drives the market forces, because the customers are the people or they are the individuals who have the purchasing power. They are the ones who have the money. They are the ones who decide whether or not they want to give you their money in exchange for your product or service. So it is expected that as an entrepreneur, whether an aspiring entrepreneur, a budding entrepreneur, a would-be entrepreneur, an established entrepreneur, you must be creating value. And it's one of the reasons why I had to bring a select of about 5 snapshots of the unique value proposition of businesses that you know and can relate with. I would like to start with Coca-Cola. How many of us here are not familiar with Coca-Cola? How many times have you walked on the streets or travel around the country, around the world, and you will not find Coca-Cola advertising? With its large market share, Coca-Cola is still doing advertisements. Coca-Cola is still trying to convince you that we have something to offer. And look at what their value proposition is. They say our purpose is to refresh the world and make a difference. Just look at that. Our role here as a business in the world is to refresh the world and make a difference. That's their value proposition. Look at this other value proposition here, the smartest way to get around. That's Uber, the transportation business. That's their value proposition. That's their unique value proposition. A smart way for you to be able to get to any part of, the town where you live or across the country where you live, the smartest way to get around. Why is it smart? Because, with just your mobile phone, you can just tap buttons and a driver will appear in front of your gate. Now that's value. Gone are the days when you will have to stand by the roadside. I believe some people still do for reasons best known to them. Probably part of it could be affordability. So gone are the days when you need to stand by the road or you have to drive to a particular bus stop and all of that. Uber and Bolt have come to take away that burden. One other value proposition here is where all athletes belong. Now, if you look at that, that's Nike, this company that's responsible for producing tennis shoes, canvas, and all of that. They are appealing to all athletes because they know that a large chunk of their market share are the athletes. Even those who are not athletes, even my 10-year-old son will always want to tell me, Daddy, when are you going to get me the latest Nike tennis shoes? Why? Because Nike is filling a gap. Look at one other one here. I intentionally refuse to put the name of the company or the organization there. The experience is the product. How many of us knows which company or which product has this value proposition? It is Apple. I am not an Apple user, I am an Android user. And my reason for not using Apple is because of technology. I mean, some of the limitations around Apple. Sometime in the course of this work, I'm taking my time on this page so that we understand where we are going in terms of value chain and value system, in terms of what it takes to create and run a business. It is not about owning a shop. Oh, God has blessed me, and now I have rented a shop. Please, what are you selling? And you will see I outlined 3 major questions that determine where you're going as a business person. What problem is your product or service solving? These are the questions you should ask yourself before you venture into business. What need are your product / service meeting? 3 pain points here. Your product or service must be solving a problem. It must be meeting a need. It must be filling a gap. There should have been a gap that you identified. For an example, Uber identified the inconvenience that people go through to be able to access vehicles or transport that will take them from one destination to another. And they solved the problem by ensuring that, there is a car just in front of your house to take you to any part of the city where you live. That's a problem solved. And that's what it takes to start a business. And that's what value system means as far as business is concerned. I hope we are still here. That takes me to the introduction. understanding the value chain. What is a value chain? I mean, the word chain simply means, from a layman, an interconnection or the interconnectivity of several ions put together. That's a chain. Several metals, and then it creates some kind of length. So for us as business people or intending business people, the sequence of activities that create and deliver a product or service to a customer is a value chain. I will show you in the next slide a typical example of what a value chain is. It also encompasses steps and functions that is involved to be able to deliver a product. Value chain is product-centered. Value chain is product-centered. It's about the product. From idea conception to the development of the product, to the production, to marketing, to distribution. This entire life cycle of the product is what is referred to as the value chain. You can't afford to abandon any part of the value chain of your business. And you will see the reason why as we make progress in a moment. Each activity within the value chain contributes to the product. And I'm going to demonstrate this to you in the next slide. So let's just go over to the next slide. I have an example here, the seamstress value chain. I believe that this is an example majority of us might be able to relate with. The seamstress value chain. I mean, those of us who are familiar with the fashion industry. Can I break it down a little bit? Can I take you a little bit downwards? Those of us who take our materials to tailor, to sew. This is the value chain that a typical tailor, whether he or she is conscious of it, whether he or she is deliberate and intentional about it, this is the value chain you must go through. This is the life cycle of what it takes to deliver clothes to any customer. It begins with styling. Tell me which fashion designer, whatever it is, I mean, they are called now seamstress, fashion designer, fashion experts. Which of them will want to begin the process of delivering clothes to a customers and will not first of all identify the style? You have to sit down with the customer and find out what exactly. A lot of them will even have on their phones, on their tabs, different types of styles, and they will show to this, intending customer. Look at the style. Would you like this? It will begin with conversations like, are you looking at a gown? Are you looking at a shaped gown? Are you looking at a boo-boo? Are you looking at a skirt and blouse? If it is a skirt and blouse, are you looking at a normal freestyle? Are you looking at a skirt and blouse that has peplons? How many levels of peplons are you looking at? You will have to identify the style. That's the beginning of the value chain for any fashion designer. And that goes to the next stage in the chain. Measurement taking. Which fashion designer will just sit down, get your clothes, get your material, and assume your size? No fashion designer will take that risk. It's too risky to engage in. And that's why this component, this bit of the value chain is equally very important. You need to take measurements. What's the shoulder? What's the chest measurement? What's the length of your trouser? What's the waist or hip measurement? All of this has to be factored into the process of delivering that product called a style. And then you take it to the next part of the chain, sourcing the material. Oh, yes, it is true that the fashion designer will have delivered into your hand a particular material, maybe an Ankara, maybe a cashmere, maybe a lace material. But you see, if you ask a typical fashion designer, there are also other materials that will need to be added. And this particular fashion designer knows that he or she needs to source this material. For an example, there's what they call lining. I had to take my time to discuss with the fashion designer to be able to use this particular example, because some of us just hand over our clothes to our tailors, our fashion designers. We don't know that they go through this value chain. Some of them even go through it and they are not conscious of it. So they need to source materials. What are the kind of materials they need to source? For an example, if it's a female cloth, maybe a zip, maybe a doll face satin. maybe a bright-faced satin to be added to the women here will understand what I am talking about. And then all of these material are part of what you need to agree on, because that's part of the final product that you will deliver. Then that takes us to production, the process of cutting, the process of joining, the process of ironing, all of this. Tell me, from these first four, which one can you leave out? If you coincidentally or incidentally, if you like, mistakenly, leave out any part of this, you will find that there is a gap. And you will find at the end of the day, you may not have the kind of product that you want to be able to deliver. And that takes us to fitting. I'm aware that in this part of the world, that fitting for some people is not necessary. Some customers also expect that. Just so you have taken my measurement, come on, you should be able to sew my clothes to fit my body perfectly. If you watch the last AMVC award, African Magic Viewers Choice Award, you will discover that there is a lady called Vicky James. She has become really very popular now. She was one who put together the dresses that people like Funke Akindele wore, people like Osas. I watch the AMVC award every year, so I'm aware of this. Now, you will be surprised. Find out from the women who are here, the women folks that are here. Sometimes you need to go to your fashion designer, maybe an hour before an event, and it is either in your house or at your fashion designer's house. That's where some parts, some components, or some bits of the clothes are fitted together. Now, for some whose clothes are just the normal clothes, you'll have to do some kind of, probably visit your fashion designer, test your clothes, check the chest region, check the back region, check the waist region, check the length, and all of that. Now, that's a value chain, or that's part of the value chain. And then maybe there are some sort of amendments, and then finishing is done. I'm not aware of, in this part of the world, whether they do packaging, but I am aware of a fashion designer that will always make sure that, and for me, that's a marketing strategy, that will always make sure that she puts your clothes in a transparent leather and then puts, our imprint on it. Package it properly, put an imprint on it with the name of our company, which is our brand, and maybe a call phone number, so you can reach that particular designer. And then you go to the final level, which is, or the final bit, which is called delivery. Somebody will say to me, or somebody might want to suggest that delivery, what do we need delivery for? Can I ask you a question? Imagine you send a delivery van to Life Camp. There is an Akko estate in Life Camp. I'm also aware that there is another Akko estate on Airport Road. Imagine if your target customer lives or resides at Akko Estate in Life Camp, and your delivery van takes it to Akko Estate at Airport Road. And at the end of the day, puts in the hand of someone who does not own the clothes, a cloth that was meant for someone else. So you might say to yourself, oh no, delivery is not really important. Well, it all depends on the size of your business. It all depends on your business strategy. So this is a typical example of what is referred to as a value chain. One thing leading to another. This is a critical part network that all businesses must take into consideration if you want to do business and survive business. That takes me to the next slide. Primary activities versus support activities in the value chain. Is my audience still here? Have I lost anyone?
No, we are here. We are here.
Beautiful. Primary activities and support activities in the value chain. The primary activities are directly related to the creation and delivery of the products. The major activities that you need to carry out, the core activities that you need to carry out are the primary activities. In our past example, the example of the seamstress that I gave, you will identify finishing as part of the primary activities. You will identify fitting as part of the primary activities. You will identify measurement taking or taking of measurement as a primary activity, because these are core part of the value chain. In contrast, the support activities provide the necessary support and infrastructure. For an example, I didn't say anything about the subordinates in that fashion company that does the sewing, the human resources. Are we saying they are not part of the value chain? Well, they are not part of the primary value chain, but they are part of the support activity or the what I would call the secondary value chain. Together, all these two, parts, knitted together is what makes what is referred to as our value chain. So that takes me to the next slide, understanding the value chain. And then we are looking at, in this case, the primary value chain. Inbound logistics. This includes activities related to receiving, storing, raw material, handling of raw material that is needed for your production. If, for an example, the raw material in our example, in our use case, the materials, the zips, the landing, and all of that you ought to receive maybe from a supplier. Now, this is part of the primary because someone has to deliver that into your hands. You have to make use of that. Operations, these are the core part of the product. You will find things like manufacturing, assembly. In our example, the process of sewing, the process of finishing are part of the operations. Outbound logistics deals with the distribution if it's a product-oriented or a manufacturing-oriented kind of business. For our example, we talked about packaging. You probably have to also find a place where you have to keep your target customer or your customers' materials before they eventually come pick them up. And then order fulfillment. I mean, let's say as part of your value chain in this business, in our example, you have to deliver the product. Maybe part of it is delivery, at home delivery. Now you have to ensure that, the order that was placed, is actually fulfilled by ensuring that your customer gets, her clothes. Marketing and sales. Marketing and sales are activities focused on promoting the product. Branding, in our example, I said you could do packaging and branding. For an example, just putting a little label on the package that shows your business name, your phone number, your email address, your website. If you have an online store, you put something like that there. You are leveraging the packaging, which is part of the value chain, to do marketing, And then part of the primary value chain here is service. The service component of the value chain involves post-sales support. For an example, after delivery, your customer puts a call across to you and say, please, even though I said to you, I want it just below the knee, can you please, for some reason, I changed my mind. Can you please extend it to go to somewhere in between my knee and my feet? After sales service, for those who are in technology or technical inclined businesses, the warranty that you provide, the after sales support that you provide, the repairs that you provide, these are all parts of the primary value chain. And then that takes us to the secondary or the support value chain. Procurement, for an example, the process of going to buy may not be part of the core work that you do, but of course you will have to source materials. You will have to source equipment that is needed to make your work seamless and to make sure that you deliver on the request and the requirements of your business. Technology deployment, this will depend on how much of work you do, how much of what the volume of your business. For someone who is a seamstress, for an example, or someone who is into baking, you may not be doing so much of technology. You may just require a business package on your WhatsApp platform where you can deploy, because WhatsApp is technology, where you can display your products, where you can display samples of the clothes that you've sewn and that you deliver to customers. And then when anybody taps, your WhatsApp details, they are able to see the samples of cakes that this woman has delivered, see the samples of pastries that this woman has delivered. For you, that's the level of technology that you require. Businesses that, like MTN, will require high-end technology infrastructure, data management, data collection, data visualization, data aggregation, because their volume is quite huge. And so the level of technology that is required for you will depend on the volume and the size of your business per time. Don't be in a hurry to jump on technology that you don't need. Let it be, per need and per time. And then you will find, technology quite useful to you. Human resources. Of course, what is a business without human resources? One of my favorite authors, Peter Drucker, the author of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, said one item of importance and expense in any business. He said, and I quote, one item of importance and expense in any business is human resources. One of my policies and principles in business is your staff are your internal customers. And the way you treat your internal customers will determine how they will treat your external customers. And this is very important. It's a critical success factor as far as any business is concerned. And it will involve, it will include recruitment, training. Some people will say, you train them, when you train them, they leave. All right, compare training them with not training them. Compare knowledge with ignorance. Do you know how much of business you could lose if a customer walks into your business and is asking your staff of a particular product or service? Some years ago, I worked in a particular bank. I don't want to mention, for keeps. And a product had been rolled out in our headquarters in Lagos. And customers were already walking into the local branch where I was working. And you will not believe that some of us who were staff were not aware of what that product entails. Meanwhile, the product had been launched and the product was already in the market, to the point that customers walked in and said, please, can you tell us more about this product? And some of us who were working in this particular bank at that moment were, we couldn't really say anything. We were dumbfounded. Yes, we are aware, because of course you'll always see it on the mass mail that will be sent to you, but we didn't know the details of that product. So you say to yourself, if I train my staff, they will leave. Now, again, I repeat, can you compare ignorance with knowledge? Can you compare the volume and the size of business you could lose if your internal customers, who are supposedly your staff, do not understand how your business runs because you are afraid of training and empowering them because they will leave? Can I tell you something? They will eventually leave someday. 20 children will not play together for 20 years. Firm infrastructure. Firm infrastructure involves the administrative and support function, which include financing, planning. Planning is key. Planning and execution in any business is key. Who amongst us will want to start a project or start a business, and you will not first of all plan? And that is why a part of the courses you will be taking on, or you'll be learning in the course of this entrepreneurship education program, is business plan, because that will take you through the rudiments and the process of planning your business. Now, I just put this diagram here so it can help us. So you see that both the primary activities and the support activities are not in isolation. The support activities, the primary activities, are sitting on the secondary activities, or what I earlier referred to as the support activities. And if you look at where the arrow is going, they are working in synergy. Both the primary activities and the support activities are working in synergy to deliver value, because that is all that matters. Gone are the days when on your street, let's look at this rough analogy. Gone are the days when on your street, there's only one woman that sells sugar. And everybody on this street, because she's got a small retail outlet, and everybody on this street is at the mercy of this woman. She probably is an elderly person, and of course will probably want to sleep till 7, 8, 9 a.m. And for those of you who are going to work at 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning, and let's say this particular day you don't have sugar, and you have to quickly run to this woman and knock at her small window to say, madam, I want to buy sugar, nobody's responding to you. We have left that era now. The era where we are all at the mercy of, the business person. Business is now more customer driven. And if you will have to attract the kind of customers that you are looking at, you must concentrate and pay attention to delivering value. Value is key as far as the business world is concerned. That takes us to the next slide. Value chain analysis for startups. What are startups? Businesses within the first 5 years small and medium scale enterprises, businesses with small volumes, businesses that are still at the ideation stage. You are still at the level of requirements gathering. You are still testing the waters. You are still testing the market, or you belong to this set of businesses who have just made their first 5 sales, their first 20 sales. You are still in the early, stage of your business. You are a startup. Even if you're already doing volumes in 5 to 10, 20 million, within the first 5 years, you still belong to the class that is referred to as, in business schools like Harvard and Yale Business School, as startups. The reason is simple, because you are still at that level where you are still, there's still the possibility of pivoting. There's still the possibility of changing strategy. There's still the possibility of even changing business. There's still the possibility of even changing or adding products. You are not yet grounded. You are still at your, inception stage. And that is why you will find World Bank record and statistics as it, most businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 years of their existence. The reason is because you are still susceptible, and you are still at the mercy of your environment, of government policies, of your target customers, and all of that. You are still at that stage where you need to work very hard and ensure that you are grounded to be able to survive beyond your short-term goals into your mid-term and long-term goals. So value chain analysis for startups is a strategic tool and process by new and emerging businesses to assess and understand the various activities and processes that contribute to the creation, delivery. The essence of analysis is to sit down with your biro and paper. What exactly what product offering are we providing? What service? You see, I see a lot of people, for an example, apologies to businessmen in Abuja. Most of the businessmen in Abuja are typically contractors and vendors. If you have to be a business, you must have one of the 2 things I'm about to say. You must have a product or a service. It is either you have a product offering or a service offering. In simple terms, waiting you they sell. It's as simple as that. What are you selling? Who are your target customers? Do you have a target market segment? Do you have a segmentation for your target market? Oh, my customers are youths because I sell tennis shoes. Oh, my customers, someone as an IT professional who has been an entrepreneur for over 20 years by the mercy and grace of God. A customer walked up to me sometime and she said to me, we're into real estate and we would like to advertise on social media. And she narrowed it down to the point where she said to me, we would like to advertise on Facebook. And I said to her, the market share that you're looking for, they are not on Facebook. Business-oriented people, leaders, are on a social media app that is referred to as LinkedIn. Majority of the people who are on Facebook are young people. If you look at the Harvard statistics, majority of them are either undergraduates, young people, some of them are unemployed. This set of people for now cannot afford real estate. So you ought to understand, what am I selling? Where are the people? Who are my target customers? Where can I find them? You need to sit down and do this value chain analysis. It involves a systematic examination of startups' internal operation. What is your internal operation? There is a diagram that is coming immediately after this slide. And it's a simple analysis of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You ought to sit down as an intending business person, as an aspiring business person, as a budding business person, as an established business person. It is a route you must go through all the time as a business professional or as a business individual or as an entrepreneur. It's a route, it's a circle that you must go through all the time. Of course, you will even find in some organizations that has what I refer to as a strategy team. And what the strategy team does is to assess, to do the SWOT analysis of the business every month. What is SWOT analysis? What are the strengths of this business? For you as a business, what's your strengths? What's your competitive advantage? What are you doing that nobody else does like you? what are your weaknesses? Your weaknesses might be, oh, I run a school, but I don't have school buses. Oh, that's a weakness. What can I do to mitigate this weakness? Oh, I sell akara and yam early morning every day. But where I live, there are not too many people, customers there. That's a weakness for me. What do I do then? How do I reach out to? Do I need to change location to a place where I can access more customers? Every business must do SWOT analysis now and again. What are the opportunities that are available to you? I'll give you simple examples. I sell akara every morning. And then a customer walks up to me today morning and say, do you have yam? That's an opportunity for me to add to my product offering, fried yam. And then another customer walks up to me and said, Amanda, why are you selling only akara now? We need cocoa, we need pap to be able to eat this akara. You see, gradually, you are cross-selling. You are creating additional product offerings on your value chain. You started with just akara, and you saw an opportunity to expand to add yam to it because there are customers who like a mix of akara and yam. And then that takes you to another customer who requests, because most of the things you will create, most of the products you will create will come from customer request if you pay attention to your SWOT analysis. And then another customer walks up to you and say, what about pap? And then you add pap to your product offering. And then one last customer walks up to you and say to you, oh, madam, I like to eat bread alongside my akara. Now just look at this. 3 opportunities to upsell and to cross-sell has just opened up to you. It was akara you began with. Before you knew it, you created a new product offering called yam. You added pap. You added, and this is how it works in the world of business. And then what are your threats? What are the things threatening your business? What are the disadvantages that you have that you feel this is a problem? Because you need to pay attention to this part of the SWOT analysis quadrant. It's a force, unit quadrant. Whilst you need to pay attention a lot to your strengths, you also equally need to pay attention to the threats, because the threats can end your business. I believe in the next slide, we'll be able to see examples of what these kind of threats are. So value chain analysis for startups provides a comprehensive understanding of how a business operates. Basically, how does my business operate? What value am I creating? That will give birth to the competitiveness that I need as a business person or an entrepreneur, the efficiency, seamless efficiency that I need, the customer satisfaction, because business is all about customers. It is no longer about you. Business is no longer demand supply push. You just create anything and force it into the market. It is about demand pull. It is no longer about supply push. That's what Harvard calls it. Oh, I just create any business. Gone are the days when you just wake up. Now, recharge card business. Now, they sell now, and everybody is selling recharge card. Even when you don't know where you are selling this recharge card, people are available to buy or not. Gone are the days when you just wake up, now POS business, now in the rain now, and then you just go to the bank, sign up, get a POS machine, and start a POS business. There is need to look at your environment. Who are my target customers? I want to start a POS business. I want to go to a University of Abuja campus, because I'm aware, I'm not sure of this, but I'm just using this as an example, because I'm aware that there is no bank there. And of course, students will need cash from time to time. And the market share there is huge. For every campus, you will have up to 5,000, 6,000 students, minimum 2,000, 3,000. You can imagine what your turnover will be. So this basic analysis you ought to do if you want to go into business. It's not about assumptions. You can't do business on assumptions. It doesn't work in the world of business. I hear myths, M-Y-T-H. I hear myths about entrepreneurship, like entrepreneurs take risk. I stand to be corrected. Entrepreneurs take calculated risks. Entrepreneurs don't take risks. No entrepreneur just throws money in the wind or throw money in the air. What they do is, if I put in this money what's going to be my ROI? How long will it take for me to get my ROI? Returns on investment is what I mean by ROI. If this business fails, what is my saving grace? All of these are part of your SWOT analysis. So let's look at Coca-Cola's SWOT analysis. Coca-Cola's SWOT analysis. This is very important. I beg your pardon, please. Even Coca-Cola at their level, they still do SWOT analysis. What are their strengths? They have a strong and enduring brand. Coca-Cola has a very strong brand. There are people, I know people, my wife inclusive, who cannot spend a whole week without taking Coke. 2 days, 3 days, I know people who take Coke. I know a particular mother, a woman over 50 years old. She tells me 1 bottle of Coke every day. Coca-Cola has built a brand, and that's a strength for them. They have a global reach. They have a global reach. That's a great strength for them. They have diversified product portfolio. Coke, Fanta, Sprite, and so on and so forth. They have pet bottle, they have a mama something bottle, and so on and so forth. Different product offering, such that if you're not buying this, you buy this. They have a strong financial base. They have a strong capital base because they've survived the storms. They've survived over time. They are consistently innovating. You need to see, with the market share of Coca-Cola, you need to see how much Coca-Cola is investing in advertisement. It's unbelievable. And then some of their weaknesses, people are complaining because there's high dependence on sugar. It says it has negative impact on health. They occasionally have controversies and legal issues. These are some of the weaknesses. I mean, controversies and legal issues are normal. If you're a business person, particularly if you run a limited liability company, I'm going to be coming to that. And that's part of what we'll be doing in one of our courses, talking about, different nomenclatures of businesses that you can establish. If you run a limited liability business, or what is called a business name, it's just normal that at some point there might be one legal issue or the other, but Coca-Cola identifies this as a weakness. Opportunities, further expansion into emerging markets, go to villages. I had the opportunity to travel about a week ago to a village called Dobi. Dobi is about 40 minutes into Gwagwalada. And when I got to that town, I knew that aside from water and Coke, I didn't ask them to give me swan water. I didn't ask them to give me seaway. I didn't ask them to give me all these other bottled water that you know. I just said, give me Coca-Cola and any bottled water. You know why I requested for Coca-Cola? I am so sure that even in that rural area, you'll be able to find Coca-Cola there. That's how much of expansion and reach and market reach that Coca-Cola has. And that's an opportunity for them that they have leveraged. They are consistently developing new products. They are partnering with other companies. Coca-Cola, with its size and volume and market reach, it is still going into partnership with banks, with multinationals, and all that. What are some of the threats? There are increased competition. For an example, I'm aware now that there are new products that are in the market now. Biggie Cola is in the market now. You will see that a lot. There are other, Coke products. We have Pepsi, but with all of that, Coca-Cola still identifies that as a threat, and they are ensuring that their business stays above water. Consumer preferences, of course, you will find customers wake up. The customer who will come to you this morning and say, Madam, I know that your major product offering is Akara. Today, I want Akara and pap. Same customer might come tomorrow and say, I want Akara and bread. Same customer might come a day after and say, I want Akara and yam. The desires of customers are unlimited. You cannot restrict, the desires of our customers. And so, because there is a consistent change in customer preferences, Coca-Cola identifies that as a threat to their business. I mean, Coca-Cola is just such a conservative company. At their level, I'm not expecting that they will be identified this as part of their threat. But you see, they are realists. They are telling them their business the truth. That we don't want to, run business in isolation and make it look like we are already above waters and we have exceeded every other business. They are still saying we know and we are aware that we are in competition and we will do whatever it takes to survive competition and do well in business. Regulatory and legal challenges will come up from time to time. Economic policies, political policies, government policies, will as a way of actually creating threats to businesses. So this is basically what SWOT analysis is about. Value chain analysis for startups. Value chain analysis for startups. It's important for us to identify what are the primary and support activities in our value chain. What are my core activities? What are the support activities? I think we talked a lot about this. It's important for us to assess our competitive advantage. Before you start a business, while you are in business, please try and pay attention to what I will refer to as a competitive advantage or a comparative advantage. It's important to have what is called, it can also be referred to as a niche advantage. What can I do differently that gives me an edge over my competitors and over competition? What am I doing differently? Back then, some years ago in Kaduna, I was working on a particular street, and there were about 4 restaurants on that street. This will sound very funny and hilarious, but it is true. There were about 4 restaurants on that street. I tested the first 2. And one of the days, I wanted a particular food, and I had gone to the second restaurant because they were aligned in a serial manner on the same street. And they didn't have the food that I wanted. And I said, this 4th restaurant, I've not been there before. Let me just go there and test and see what they have to offer. As soon as I walked up to that particular restaurant, the woman who owns the restaurant herself, she has about 4 or 5, ushers or service girls or whatever it is they are called. The woman who runs and owns the restaurant sits in front of the restaurant every morning, and most times. She's not even at the kitchen. She has a niche that I call greeting. This is the woman who's just seeing me for the first time. Customer. And I'm like, what? In the heart of my heart, I'm like, madam, this is my first time here. I'm not your customer yet. I'm just here to test the waters. But you need to see the way she received me. Oh, customer, it's so nice to see you. How is the family? The ministry of greeting. This woman can greet for Africa. Whether I'm single or not, this woman was asking me, I was single actually. This woman was, is madam now? How are the children? And what would you like to eat? And then she leads me to where I'm going to sit. And I'm like, wow. Until I became, there are 3 restaurants before our own. I will walk past those restaurants every day and go to this mama's place. Just because of the way she receives her customers. Some of them, their niche will be, there's a complimentary, item for you if you buy a particular thing. If you go to Chicken Republic, for an example, they will say to you there is a combo. If you will buy, at some point they were selling this combo. You buy jollof rice, chicken, water, and a small bottle of Coke for 800 naira. At some point it was 600 naira. At some other point it was 800 naira. Now, that's a simple niche they created for themselves. The whole idea is to please the customer. The whole idea is to make the customer excited. If you say, I want big bottle Coke, they will say, no, that's not part of this particular combo. This combo comes complete. What are you doing differently? What niche do you have? What competitive advantage? I know a particular school in the estate where I live. The part of their subject is spiritual prowess. For personal reasons, I don't want to mention the name of this school. Part of their subject is spiritual prowess. And they insist that all children must partake in spiritual and moral prowess. They use that as a niche for themselves. Parents are excited to bring their children, in these days where most of our parents are busy. How much time do you spend with these children back at home? You come back at 7 p.m. and you spend only 3 hours or 2 hours with them before they go back to bed. And a school is saying to you, we're also interested in the affective domain, apart from the 4 domains of knowledge, whether cognitive domain and all of that. We're also interested in the spiritual domain of your children, in the moral domain of your children. And we are paying close attention to morality and spirituality. We want your children to be able to do well in life. And parents are bringing their children to that school because of that component, that spiritual and moral bits. We will teach them this and this and this, how to live in the fear of the Lord. We will teach them how to fast. We'll teach them how to pray. You can imagine. It's a competitive advantage for that particular school. I believe I've spent a lot of time on this particular point. It's important because for you as a business person, it's important that the early stage of your business, begin with the end in mind by creating a niche for yourself, by creating a competitive advantage for yourself, by creating a comparative advantage for yourself in business. It will help you to go far in business. And as soon as other competitors discover this your offering, and they come up with something else, you have a responsibility to do what? To innovate again and to ensure that you keep innovating and innovating. And that is why SWOT analysis is something you must keep doing from time to time to ensure that you remain afloat and that you remain in business. Cost reduction and efficiency. This is a great business model. There are businesses that have survived by ensuring that they cut costs. There is no point wasting money. Value chain analysis helps startups identify areas where you can cut your costs. Because once you cut costs, you save money. You have more money to be able to do business. You have more money to be able to expand. You have more money to be able to reward your staff. And so it's important to do value chain analysis because it also comes with cost reduction and efficiency. Innovation and value creation. I talked a little bit about this when I talked about competitive and comparative advantage. Startups should always look out for opportunities. I believe I also spoke to this particular point when I talked about SWOT analysis. Startups will always look for opportunities, the O part of SWOT analysis, to innovate within the value chain. What else can I do to make my customers excited? What else can I do? I believe in the creative part of this. I believe that was last week you took that course. I can't remember the exact nomenclature of that course. I think it's innovation and creativity or something like that. I'm sure the facilitator must have done justice to it, talking about innovating and being creative. This is key to running any business. How do I improve my customer experience? Are you aware that Amazon has an artificial intelligence store now? Somewhere, they began in the US. You can walk into the Amazon, is it called Amazon Global or something like that? You can walk into this departmental store. The only person you will see is a customer service officer. You will go there, pick your products, do a code scan, pay for the product without talking to anybody. The cameras are there watching you. They're just trying to create convenience for customers. They don't want a situation where customers will go through rigors. Yours might be home delivery. I know a lot of laundry businesses that as part of their value chain, they say we'll provide home delivery. Don't bother. We do pick up and delivery. We will do pick up and delivery. And customers, just to make the customer excited, just to improve customer experience, we will come to your house, we'll pick up the clothes, and we'll also come and deliver your clothes. So the customer is just sitting at home. They come pick up the clothes. They identify the number of clothes they picked. His or her clothes are ready, and they deliver it at home. Now that's customer convenience. So these are some of the things you can do, to improve your customer experience, and that's part of what you'll be seeing in value chain analysis, customer value and satisfaction. I'm sure I talked a lot about customer, but it's important to know that the major reason any customer will remain with you is because you are adding value to their lives one way or the other. Part of what value chain analysis will help you do is value chain It aids startups in making informed decisions. Like I said earlier on, I hear things like entrepreneurs take risks. Again, I stand to be corrected. Entrepreneurs take what is referred to as calculated risks. Informed decisions based on data, statistics, and information. Oh, we are producing 5,000 products for the month of July. No entrepreneur carelessly does that. They do what is called a forecasting, they leverage on what is called forecasting model. And that is by looking at what did we sell last month? What products did we have high demand on last month? We need to produce more this month. What product did we sell less last month? We need to produce more this month. That's informed decision. That's not a careless decision. That's not a risk. That's a calculated risk. So value chain analysis helps you to do all of that. Market positioning is part of what value chain analysis helps you to do. It gives you insights. I mean, I talked about leveraging, past data, past records, to be able to strategically position yourself in the market. What business am I doing? Oh, do I sell ready-made clothes? I'm a fashion designer. I sell ready-made clothes. Where is my market? Part of my market can be campus. Oh, we have a lot of young people there. I remember whilst at a point I was a banker, and there was this young copper who walked up to us and said to us, I'll be importing suits from Dubai, and you can pay instrumentally. All you need to do is give me post-dated checks, and then a maximum 3 months will debit you monthly, and then I bring for you Dubai suits. Trust bankers. All of us jumped at it. This was a young copper girl. She had to just strategically position herself. She knew she wouldn't go sell suits at a supermarket that she does not own. She will not go and attempt to sell suits at a school. How many teachers actually wear suits? And maybe some of them might not even be able to afford the kind of suits that she wants to sell. Apologies, please, to our teachers. I'm just saying. She went to a place where she knew they earn a lot of money. And she gave them a product offering with convenience. Pay in 3 months. Market strategy. Market positioning strategy. I mean, you need to see the number of bankers who buy from this girl. And on that street, we have like 7 banks. I understand over 100 of us were practically on that young woman's customer base. I mean, it's a strategy, and it's something we can leverage as business people. Continuous improvement. Value chain analysis will also help you do, continuous improvement. SWOT analysis will demand that you continue to improve. You don't rest on your hours. Oh, they are praising your gari. Oh, your gari is Ijebu gari. And then all of a sudden, you decided to go and start bringing gari from Kaduna. Instead of ensuring that, oh, I'm consistent with my Ijebu gari. Oh, you are importing palm oil from Aba. And everybody say, oh, your palm oil is very nice and tasty. Instead of ensuring that you improve in terms of delivery, you improve in terms of quality, you decide to change from palm oil from Aba, for lack of words, please. You decide to start bringing your palm oil from somewhere called Isan in Edo State. I mean, I don't know if they have palm oil. It's just for lack of examples. So you see, you should pay attention to continuous improvement. Don't rest on your oars and say, oh yes, we are the ones that it's our business that owns the highest market share. And for this reason, we're on top of our game. I mean, try to be conservative. Look at Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola at their level, with their volume, with their product offering, with their market share, as far as, drinks are concerned, they are still doing SWOT analysis. They still carry out SWOT analysis. The reason is in a bid to try to avoid being conservative and living on assumptions. So this takes us to the next slide. Value chain integration and collaboration. Please, can I just hear your voices? Are you still here? Are we still on the same page? Can you see my slide? Am I making sense? Can I just hear your voices? 1, 2, 3 people before I continue from in this section 3.
Yeah, we can see the slide. We can, and we hear your voice. We can.
All right, that's fine. So value chain integration and collaboration. Value chain integration and collaboration refers to the practice of connecting, and I don't like reading really, but again, there are parts you need to read and then you can explain. The practice of connecting and coordinating various activities within the value chain to enhance efficiency. I mean, that's what value chain itself is. It's an integration and a collaboration. You know, one part of the value chain is leading to the other. One particular item is leading to the other. Let me give you another rough analogy or rough example. Those who are in the business of making pastries, for an example, what's the value chain for making pastries? Let's run through it quickly. I had to sit with my young daughter last night for her to take me through this. The first thing is you have to identify the pastry you want to make. What pastry are you making? Do you just start making pastry without identifying what the end product is? Then you move to acquiring or getting the recipe. The recipe gives you a direction. The recipe gives you a direction in terms of what are the ingredients that you will need to be able to make a particular pastry. And that will take you to sourcing the ingredients. You see the value chain. Then you need to source the ingredients. Then the preparation of the ingredients for production. So that's production itself. Then that takes you to packaging and branding. If you are the type who sells, if what you're doing is not subsistence, you're producing to be eaten at home, what you're doing is for business. And then if it's for business, you probably have to store somewhere because you may not be delivering everything. And then distribution. So you see the value chain for making pastries. A lot of our mothers here, a lot of the women folk here, go through this process, what the technology people will call flow charts. Most of us go through this value chain and we do not know that it is a chain integration. One thing is leading to another. Those who did quantitative techniques in school, or what is referred to as operation research, there's a philosophy called critical path network or critical path analysis. One thing must lead to another. If a particular stage is not completed, you can't go to the next stage. And so they are integrated. And so there is a collaboration. So that's what a value chain integration and collaboration is talking about. It involves fostering collaboration and cooperation between entities. For an example, suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, and service providers all have a role to play in a business. When we get to what I call, or what is referred to as supply chain management, we will have an understanding of this part properly. Key aspects of value chain integration and collaboration: supplier relationships. As a business person, you will need to have relationship with your suppliers. Relationship management is key for any entrepreneur, whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur, you're a budding entrepreneur, you are an established entrepreneur, you are a multinational, you are a small, medium, and enterprise, small, medium, and micro enterprise, you are a startup, you are a sole entrepreneur, you run a limited liability company. Relationship management is even a business model in modern day business. Imagine if you have a friend who is a governor. Imagine if your friend becomes the governor of a state. Imagine if your friend becomes the CEO of a bank. Even if he won't dash you money, he will take you through the process of what it takes to get a loan and make it seamless for you. Relationship is key. I learned this in banking. I was in banking for about 7 years. And when I became an entrepreneur, I leveraged all the knowledge, skill sets that I acquired from banking. supplier relationship for so many reasons, for credit worthiness, for credits. For so many reasons, you ought to leverage the relationship and create relationship in business, particularly with your suppliers. Imagine if you have a target to deliver 5,000 donuts by Sunday, and your flour, the supplier who supplies your flour, stops picking accords. Imagine if it was a contract you were given and you don't have the capital to buy flour, but you have a relationship with your supplier who delivers flour to you, and you have the right credit worthiness, you will get flour. So this is important in value chain integration and collaboration. Vertical integration, when a company integrates the supply chain by acquiring or controlling suppliers or distributors to get more control over its operation. Vertical, that's your business probably is feeding another business above you. It's a vertical arrangement. Let's say let's create this simple analogy. You have beneath you are suppliers. Let's say you do pastries. Beneath you are those who supply you the materials like flour, like vegetable oil, and all the materials that you require. They are beneath you. The next person is you, who do the production and produce pastries. The next person above you in that vertical arrangement are your customers who you supply to. Who even knows? Maybe your customers also buy in bulk and they have a retail outlet and they also sell to walk-in customers. Can you see that vertical arrangement? It's an integration. So as a business person, you should identify whether or not you belong to a vertical integration in the entire value chain. Whether there's somebody, there's someone, or there is a business that fits your business. Your business fits another business. That business fits the next business. Do not say that the next two on the chain are not your business. If anything goes wrong with you on that value chain, something may go wrong with the subsequent bits or components in that value chain. So you ought to, these things may sound theoretical, but in practice, that is what it is. Horizontal integration, these are the people on the same level with you, collaborating with entities operating at the same level with you. You can also create synergy. In this part of the world, there's so much competition. If you go to the West, when I say the West, I'm talking about Europe and I'm in the Americas, you will find that competitors are synergizing. You will find that competitors, let me give you an example. There's a place called UTC. I think UTC has been brought down now. UTC is somewhere in Area 10. But there's a place called the MURG Plaza, MURG Plaza. It's just opposite UTC, somewhere in Area 10, just directly opposite the NIPOST. You will find there all kinds of printers. All manner of printers are there. That has become a hub. I see someone's trying to start a business and he says, I don't want to be where my competitors are. The best place to be is where your competitors are, for the sake of collaboration, for the sake of synergy. Imagine if there is a government policy that says all printers who are into printing and all of that should go and register with government. It becomes easy for you to be able to synergize and form some kind of cooperative. As I am aware, they even have a cooperative. Suppose there is policy that says you cannot be using this particular size of machines. Suppose there is need for you to do some work and you need paper urgently. If you have relationship with the next printer, oh, do you have this set of paper? Maybe art paper, maybe a glossy paper, maybe matte card. You need some of this. I'm familiar with these industries, and that's why I'm using examples. Now, so you see, horizontal integration gives you an opportunity to do business with your contemporaries. Competition is not evil. In modern day business, you leverage competition. Locate your business in a place where there are competitors, because customers want to go to a place where they are sure that they can get a service. So you find the stakes are higher for you when you stay in a place where there are fellow competitors than to stay apart from competitors for so many reasons. Part of it is the next item here, or the next point here, information and resource sharing. Oh, the cost of papers is cheaper somewhere now. You can get this kind of information from a fellow competitor in an LD environment. So that is why value chain integration, collaboration is also key amongst businesses, amongst competitors. All of this is key. It is no longer about me. It's no longer about my business, and so on. That takes us to the next slide, please. Key aspects of value chain integration and collaboration. I'm just going to run through this. Joint ventures and alliances, forming partnership. I've talked about that. To be able to collectively pursue opportunities. Collaborative technology, implementing technology and systems that facilitate communication. I said a lot about this. Please do not buy technologies. Do not invest as a business person, as someone who is just starting a business. Do not invest so much money in technology when you don't need it. Your acquisition should be as the need arise. Oh, I'm selling akara. I'm not demeaning those who are selling akara. What business do you have owning a website? How many people will go to a website to go and look for akara? What you need is a WhatsApp app on your phone, and if possible, the business component of a WhatsApp, not the freemium one, the premium version, the premium version of WhatsApp, the paid version of WhatsApp, if you like, where you can display your akara, where anybody who taps there can see what you're doing. Oh, we also sell fried yams. In my estate here, there's a woman who sells one akara at 100 naira. One akara at 100 naira. Go and see the queue there. My family also queues there. Akara. So you see, and on this woman's WhatsApp, she will just do a broadcast. Oh, we have this and this and this to offer. Oh, we are now doing this now. And she'll do a broadcast message to all our customers. So please acquire technology as need arises. Don't jump into, oh, we're in the world of technology. Oh, Bill Gates says your business is not in business if you don't have technology. That's for certain level of businesses, because technology, whilst it is important, whilst we are in the age of technology, there is a level of technology. I am an IT professional by if you like, by birth. I mean, 20 years in IT industry. It was technology that brought me into entrepreneurship, which is where I am now. So I can say a lot about the tech industry. Do not be quick to jump into technology. Do what is called requirements gathering, or what is referred to as needs assessment. Do I have need for this? And what exactly will it be doing for me? And how will it help to make my business more effective and efficient, to even be able to reach more customers? Part of what value chain integration does is it enhances costs. It helps you to save costs, improve product quality. All of that, I'm sure we have talked about at one point or the other. Beautiful. We're in section 4, supply chain management in value chain. This is another new terminology. And this terminology is not much different from value chain, even though value chain is a subsector or a component of the supply chain management. Supply chain management is critical component of a broader value chain. It's an extension, an expanded value chain. Value chain actually forms part of what is referred to as supply chain. I believe as we make progress shortly, in a moment, you will see and understand what supply chain actually entails. It focuses on planning, design, execution, monitoring, and control of activities related to the flow of goods and services from raw material supplier to customers. So can I give you a clear-cut difference? While value chain is paying attention on products, supply chain management is paying attention on delivery, on customers. Value chain is paying attention on the entire life cycle of what it takes to come up with a product. Supply chain is paying attention to the entire life cycle of what it takes to deliver the product to the customers, which will include planning, it will include advertisements, whether below the line adverts or above the line adverts, whether leveraging social media marketing or whatever it is. So supply chain management, you will see I will always put a diagram immediately after my explanation so we can leverage that. So this course does not sound theoretical and not practical, because most of the things that we're talking about and that you will also find in all other courses, the things you will see both in theory and in practice by extension. So supply chain management is an essential part of value chain because it ensures that materials, information, and financial resources are used more efficiently through the value chain, ultimately contributing to creation and delivery of value to customers. So whilst, again, I repeat, whilst product value chain is paying attention to product, more emphasis is placed on customers and delivery with supply chain management. Now we have an example here, value chain versus supply chain. Now look at this diagram. What's the difference? Look at where the arrow is in terms of value chain. Look at where the arrow is in terms of supply chain. With the customer in mind, value chain is routing through planning, innovation, product life cycle to ensuring that it aligns with supplier and sourcing. So value chain is paying attention to product delivery. Value chain is tending towards the product. The entire life cycle from idea conceptualization to design, to implementation, to evaluation, to production, to delivery, the entire life cycle of your product. From the example that we gave, from identifying for our example was a seamstress, producing a finished product of a particular design. And we looked at from identifying and agreeing on a particular style, which is referred to as styling, to the point where we take measurements, to the point where we begin production, to the point where we do the fitting. That particular route is paying attention to the product. But supply chain is paying attention, look at the arrow, it is tending towards the customer. Have we been able to get supplies? How do we deliver? Even though you will find supply chain more in bigger organizations. In fact, if you go to some multinationals, you will find a portfolio referred to as a supply chain manager. You will find a unit called supply chain unit or department. Their job is to pay attention to all that it takes for us to deliver this product to the customer in terms of sales and marketing, in terms of paying attention to production, in terms of paying attention to logistics. So as a business person, your business might just be small. You may not be doing so much of supply chain at your level, but there's need to pay attention to value chain. And then maybe the only bit that you're doing for your supply chain is just delivery. But for big businesses like MTN, for big businesses like Coca-Cola, for big businesses like Guinness, for big businesses like Unilever, they do both value chain and supply chain. And it is because they have large mass markets. They have different product portfolios. You will find in some multinationals that are into what we call FMCGs, fast-moving consumer goods, like the Dangotes. The Dangote, I'm sure, would have under its marketing, sales and marketing department, a unit called supply chain that will pay attention to the details of how they reach their customers. What are the logistics they leverage on? You can imagine the logistics unit of a Dangote, for an example. For those who are just starting business, we may not have so much to do with all of this, but you see, this material has been put in our hands, and we trust that our business will grow over time. And then we can make references to some of these things as our businesses grow and progresses. So key aspects of supply chain within supply chain management within the value chain, I'll just run through them. Supplier relationships, I've talked about this. That's important to pay attention to managing our relationship with our suppliers. Inventory management, for those of us who do businesses or will be doing businesses that are product-driven, that are production-oriented, and there will be need for us to be able to stock some of our products, it's important to pay attention to inventory management. It's important to know what's my stock level, right? Because of customer demand. What is my stock level? Have I gotten to the point where I've reached stock out? No serious business-minded person will want to get to the point where you are at stock out, because you can't tell. Let's say you are producing pure water, what is popularly referred to as pure water. You should have a record of how much of bags of water do I have, just in case customers are placing demand. By the way, I did a little bit of opinion poll or what I would call Q&A, question and answers with those who are in the business of table water, which we popularly refer to as pure water. And they say they are never able to meet their customer demand. Now you can imagine that kind of business. They are never able to meet their customer demand. At least 3 to 5 of them have told me over the years, we are never able to meet our customer demand, because there will always be demand for water, for an example. And so it's important to pay, if you know that your business is product-oriented, is production-oriented, or is going to be product or production-oriented, it's important to pay attention to stock in and stock out. What's the level of stock? Because customers will walk away from you if they come the first time and you run out of stock. But with supply chain analysis, you have a responsibility and a role to be able to do your inventory and say, as at today, how much of bags of water do we have? How much of this particular product do we have? So that when customer comes demanding, we can meet our customers' demand. Production and manufacturing, I mean, this whole thing is just rolling over into each other. Supply chain management oversees the production processes, the manufacturing processes, to ensure that attention is paid to raw materials, attention is paid to logistics, attention is paid to quality assurance. Because most of the people who are engaging or who are engaged in this kind of business actually have a mass market to meet. That takes us to number 4, again, logistics and distribution. Somehow, I just keep talking about and mentioning some of these things even before I get there. So there's the need to pay attention to logistics. How do you deliver the product? You can imagine the number of trucks that Dangote has. You can imagine the number of trucks that Dangote has. They are on the road every day. The reason is simple. There is a high demand for his products. Cement. Let's not even go into sugar, salt. The guy is just wonderful. The guy is going into, he has ventured into oil and gas now. Just a month ago, I was reading about him, and the guy is going into steel production. He is indeed an entrepreneur. There are sentiments around him. Oh, he's been monopolistic. Oh, he's taking advantage of government. Oh, he's done this, he's done that. But again, as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, Dangote is a full-fledged, back-to-back entrepreneur. He knows what it takes to take advantage of opportunities. He knows how to identify pain points, whether individual pain points, business pain points, gaps in a market, gaps in a system. He knows what it takes to identify these issues and then to solve them. You can imagine a country, apologies to our countries anyways, you can imagine a country that has 3 or 4 refineries, and an individual is able to attract foreign direct investment, FDI, to build a refinery. I hear some people say, oh no, you will find the monies of the likes of Obasanjo invested, the likes of our president invested, the likes of Tony Elumelu invested, the likes of X, Y, and Z, they all invested. That's what business is about. And as we proceed towards the end of this, you will see the role of investors as far as funding is concerned. And so it's not a disadvantage to Dangote. It's not a minus. It is a plus that he is able to establish relationships and create creditworthiness to the point where people can invest in his business, to the point where an individual can establish a refinery that is doling out 600,000 to 1 million barrels of crude oil in a country where we have 3 refineries that are moribund. I hope I'm safe. Information flow. An efficient supply chain requires real-time information sharing and visibility. And this is part of the aspect of value chain supply chain management. You need information as an entrepreneur. You can't afford not to read. I know people who wants to go into businesses and they've not read one book. They've not read anything. They can't even, they can spend 6 hours. Apologies to anyone who belongs to this class, please. My job here is not to be judgmental. I'm just saying. We can spend 6 hours on social media. We know all the latest dance on TikTok, but we are an aspiring or intending business person or entrepreneur. We have not read anything about the business we are about to start. We have not asked anybody question about the business we are intending to start. We just jump on a business. It's only in this part of the world that I see people just jump on businesses. You hear things like, now recharge card business, now in the rain now, and somebody keeps all his life savings and puts in recharge cards business and gets frustrated. And then you begin to hear things like, now village people. These village people, they don't suffer. Someone has accrued or accumulated capital, and then without asking questions, say, I heard that, I hear, say, the POS people, those people, they get money. And then the next thing, put your money into POS without counting your costs, without doing a value chain analysis, without doing a SWOT analysis, without doing a feasibility study, without doing a market positioning strategy, all of which we have talked about. And then the next minute, they say somebody, God forbid, said some people came and took the money away. Or you hear things like, oh, I'm not making profits. That business, I was a banker, that business is a business you make money on turnover. The higher your turnover in that business, the more money you can make.
Thank you very much.
Business that is cut and carry.
Dr. Teddy.
It's not a business that the ROI, the returns on investment.
Dr. Teddy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Can we go into the record keeping? I'm sure that we've spent almost 1.5 hours already, even though we are enjoying you. Somebody said, I'm enjoying this class. I don't want, can we continue, class participants? I don't want us to take you for granted. Can you send me a shot? Yes, yes, yes. Oh, somebody said, I want to fill the class. Oh, they all said yes, 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 yes. All right, so please continue, sir.
Okay, I should be rounding up in another 15 to 20 minutes. I was not looking at my time, really.
Apology, I think I'm just breaking in. They want you to continue. All right, please. Go ahead.
I think we can extend it to 2 hours, sir.
Apologies, please.
No, go ahead. I think they are enjoying you, sir.
All right, that's fine. All right, so point 6, accurate demand forecasting. It's important that you look at historical data. If you're already in business, what does demand forecasting say? If you're already in business, how much did you sell in June? This data and statistics will help you to be able to forecast how much you can produce in July. It's a strong critical success factor as far as business is concerned and as far as supply chain management is concerned. Quickly, risk management, it enables you, if you do your value chain analysis, it enables you to be able to pay attention to all the details. So you are not, you are not susceptible or subject to risks. So you are able to mitigate risk because you've been able to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. You know what I'm supposed to do, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses. What are the opportunities? What are the threats in my business? How much do I need to start? Where do I need to position my business? Who are my target customers? And so on and so forth. So this, supply chain management analysis and value chain enables to do all of that, and it can cut down on your risk. Sustainability and ethical consideration. Of course, you find most of the businesses who do this, their businesses are sustainable. Coca-Cola has existed over 100 years because even at their level, they are still carrying out SWOT analysis. A business that has existed over 100 years, a business that is in the face of this life, is in every rural area, has a product offering or product portfolio in every town that you can reach out to, is still carrying out SWOT analysis. I mean, so for you as a business person, an aspiring business person, a budding business person, please sit down with Biro. Please forget about laptop. Please forget about internet. Sit down with Biro and paper and do a value chain analysis of your business. Where do I begin from? Where does this take me? When I leave this stage, where does it take us? In your product offering, in your supply offering. So in your product life cycle, where do we begin from? Where does this take us? Where does this take us? Where do we source material? How do we reach our customer? If you're able to take painstakingly, go through this route or this circle and do it over and over again until you master it, I can bet you, let all the village people gang up, you will do well in business. This sounds to me like a prophecy, but I'm not sure it is. Value chain disruption and innovation. And this is one of my core, and I'll just run through this because of our time. Value chain disruption occurs when traditional methods and processes with a value chain are significantly and often irreversibly altered by external forces or internal innovations. Innovation in value chain is introduction of new methods or approaches. A lot has changed, particularly with technology. Whilst I said earlier on that it's not everybody who will use technology, depending on your market, size, depending on your volume, depending on your product offering and all of that. But you see, technology is one phenomenon that has serenaded and has ravaged our entire world. And it gained a lot of strength during the lockdown, particularly in the year 2020. It was a major disruption. That is why today I have a class of about 80 people, and we are not in the same room. We are not in a physical face-to-face class. I remember that when Zoom launched out, people were not interested in their products. But a major disruption came that locked us all out into our various homes. And some of us were attending church services online. Some of us were holding meetings online. Businesses had to run to. That's a major disruption. And honestly, nobody knows how long this will last. So if you refer to the transformation and reconfiguration of various activities and processes within the value chain, you will discover that emerging technologies like AI are already disrupting the traditional business models that we've had. The traditional business models that we had. When Jumia first came to limelight, people were not interested in buying from Jumia because of the issue of trust, right? The issue of trust. How do I use my card details and put it on a payment gateway and pay for a particular product, and they will debit my account and it will go to a particular company that I am not aware of. And my card details are stored somewhere online. I mean, in this age and time when there's so much hacking and whether ethical or unethical, a lot of people were not interested. But you see, technology distribution, the disruption has brought that to stay. We don't have a choice now. A lot of us buy goods online. These are major disruptions. There are two major disruptions we are looking at here. Value chain disruptions, right? Talking about traditional methods and processes within the value chain. I've talked about technology disruption. Market disruption is also important here. Customer behavior is changing. Customer preferences are changing. Market forces are determining the prices of products. For an example, let's look at our petrol, our PMS. Let's look at our PMS. NMDC sells for 617 naira. Corn oil sells for 650 naira. AA Shafa sells for 690 naira. Now the choice is yours. It's the market forces that is determining the cost of a liter of fuel as far as Abuja is concerned. So you see, that's a major market disruption. The deregulation of that sector. The government, whilst I'm not for or against what I'm about to say, whilst this is true or untrue, I don't have any powers to decide or to say whether this is what it is or it's not. But for the mentions, for lack of examples, the moment we say we are giving up on fuel subsidy and allowing market forces to determine how each vendor or each petrol company will sell, has changed a lot of things. Some are selling 670 today, some are selling 650, some are selling 660, some are selling 690. So market forces can disrupt any business. And it's important to pay attention to some of these market forces, which include customer behaviors, customer preferences, the dynamics in the market. In this case, it was a government policy. And whether we like it or not, it disrupted the market. Global supply chain disruption. I talked about COVID-19, events such as natural disaster, geopolitical tensions, the lockdown interruption actually disrupted global supply chain to the point that people now place orders online, buy from Jumia, buy from Konga, buy from Deal Day, buy from Gigi, buy from anybody who's got an online presence because there was a major global chain disruption. Value chain innovation. The first one was value chain disruption. This is value chain innovation. This is talking about deliberate. Someone sits up and decides, I'm going to build an app that will change the way a particular business is done. That's a major innovation. It might be improving the process of, actually getting a particular product. It might be a technological innovation, maybe as a result of AI or blockchain, or to cut down on streamline operations. I understand that middlemen, the world of business is eliminating middlemen. In one of my books, The Anatomy of an Idea, I talked about a concept called retooling the middlemen. Whether we like it or not, in the supply chain subsector of our business, of businesses, Jumia, for an example, is a major middle person. Jumia does not produce any product. Jumia does not produce shoes. Jumia does not produce clothes. Jumia does not produce handsets. But technology has retooled Jumia as a middle person to the point where even though Jumia does not have any of these items in its kitty as the ones responsible for producing, but they are mediating between us and the manufacturers or the producers. That's a major innovation. And the essence is to help streamline processes to make it convenient and easy for you. So this speaks to both process innovation, technology innovation, and even business model innovation. Do you know you can model your business around pricing? You can model your business around the kind of products that you are offering. You can decide you want to enter into a market. I gave an example some time ago. I believe it was at our university, at the National Open University headquarters, about product penetration strategy. When Cowbell came into the market, Cowbell said to the big stakeholders in the market, Peak Milk and 3 Crown, that we're going to take some chunk of the market share. They were laughing at them. These people leveraged a business model called product penetration strategy. They identified the people who are the lower part of the pyramid, the people who cannot afford the tin milk, the refill milk, and they created the sachet milk. And they began to sell. And they got 30% of the market share. It is a business model innovation. And today, Cowbell is in the market. Every other person has also followed suit. They're also creating sachets, including liquid sachets. So all of these are some of the things you can learn. Think about, sit down. Business is something you ought to sit down and think about. It's not something you need to worry about. Sustainability and ethical innovation. You need to think about, what is it that I need to do, to improve my value chain that will make me remain in business? What are the niche? A friend of mine wanted to start a business. He said he wanted to start the business of sewing clothes for men. And he said, but there are too many people in this market. What do I do? He created a niche for himself. He said, I would concentrate on sewing shirts, male shirts. Another woman said to me, I consult for a number of them actually. Another woman said to me, there is a lot of people in this market of fashion. I'm going to concentrate on a particular niche, the children niche, such that I can have my own part of the market here and survive whatever is the environmental or social impact that I might be confronted with as a new entrant into the market. Customer-centric innovation. You need to pay attention to your customers. We've said a lot about customers. You need to pay attention to how you can innovate around your customers. What are the things that I can do in my business that will please my customer? Because it is about the customer. No matter the business that you're doing, no matter how beautiful your products are, no matter how brilliant and innovative your services are, if you don't have one paying customer, you're not in business. You will not survive in business. Life will hit you left, right, and center. As an entrepreneur who have been actively involved in business since 2012, in the last 12 years, I started business at age 19 on campus. And I ran my first business, oral consult, at age 19 as a student in Zaria. And I ran that business till I graduated. But I discovered that I didn't have some knowledge at some point, and I had to go work for about 7 to 10 years in different organizations before I got back to start what I run today. And I can tell you for free that it will be about the customer. At some point, I wanted to pack up. At some point, I felt like giving up. If you are not passionate about what you do to the point where you innovate, everything you do is around your customer, you may not survive the challenges, the storms of what it takes to be an entrepreneur and to survive as an entrepreneur. Quickly, we're in the last part. I hope we're able to run through this and shut down and pull our curtains together at 12. Record keeping is one integral part, and like I said at the beginning of this class, one critical success factor as far as running a business is concerned, for so many reasons that we will get to see in a moment. You ought to keep records as it ought to be an attitude. It ought to be a business culture that you keep records, right? Records of sales, records of transactions. We'll see all of that, records of vendors, records of suppliers, records of staff, and so on and so forth. All right, so record keeping. We are looking at some of the strategies for record keeping. What are the key aspects for record keeping? There are so many of them from our material, but I'll just mention a few of them. Data collection. We ought to gather information and data from various sources, such as financial transaction, contracts, employee records, customer interaction, and operational processes. We will, as a business, depending on the size of your business and where your business is, you will need to gather data. You will need to collect data. How many customers walked into my business place today? How many customers bought this particular product today? How many customers complained about this particular product today? How many customers asked for more of this product today? These are things we do on a daily basis, even in our small businesses. It's just that we don't pay attention to details. So we don't even know that we are going through this process on a daily basis as far as our business is concerned. Data entry, accurate and detailed data entry to ensure that our records are complete and free of errors. I mean, this is just self-explanatory, depending on where our business is. Data storage. This may not be applicable to those who are running small businesses at the moment. But you see, this is, if you go to, imagine a bank losing its customer database. Imagine, God forbid, imagine a telco losing its customer database. Imagine a multinational, an FMCG, a fast-moving consumer good company like Unilever and so on, losing a customer database. For you, you may say, oh no, I'm just doing the business of packaging and preparing and packaging pastries. And all I do is I just have a book. Some months ago, a close person to me who is in the fashion industry could not find her measurement book. And she was typically almost crying because measurements of all customers, over 100 customers, was about to be lost. That's data. That's an important data. You have high net worth individuals, you have high net worth customers that you don't want to call them again and be asking them, please, can I take your measurement again? Some of them, that might sound embarrassing. So you want to keep some of these records. You ought to structure these records as data organization. You ought to know where you kept what. And that's one of the benefits of having a computer system. I mean, just a tab, and then you're able to create some Word documents. You're able to use some Google Sheets or Excel to do some categorization and all of that. Then data security, there's need to protect your data. I'm running because of our time. Key aspects of record keeping, I'll just run through them. It's important to keep your data retention, right? Particularly for regulatory compliance. Of course, there are government policies as to what you ought to have if you have to be a business, or you have to have a business name registration, or you have to have a limited liability, or you have to sign up with FRS to be able to pay taxes. There's need to be able to keep all of these records. We'll see them in detail shortly. You ought to be able to, your records and data should be something you can easily access. At the snap of a finger, you should be able to access these records because they are relevant to your business on a daily basis. Audit trails in an order of precedence, in a chronological order, you ought to have, a history of your records in terms of expenses and income and all of that. So this is also very important. So the record keeping serves the following purposes: compliance, financial management, business analysis. Do you know that there's now a profession called business analysis? You are now a business analyst. It is now a profession. That's how much times are changing and the dynamics of business is changing. Legal protection, or you want to have trademarks for a particular product, you want to have a patent right for your product, operational efficiency, historical reference, and then risk management. The importance of record keeping. One, for legal compliance. FIRS can come into your business premises anytime and say, can you give us an evidence of your TCC, your tax clearance compliance? For financial management, you ought to keep record. For tax preparation, or anyways, in this time and age and time, all you need to do is just go to the bank and get your bank statement and then give to your auditor, and then that takes you through the process of acquiring your tax clearance. But it's important that you keep this document. Some of us may say, oh no, our businesses are small, we are not yet there. Well, you will get there. You will get to the point where all of these records you will need to keep, you will have them. It's a must keep for you, if you have to survive the world of business. Business performance evaluation, you are doing a check and balance to see how your business is doing. Are we making progress, or we're just simply existing? Informed decision making. The records you are keeping, the data of sales for last month, the data of sales for January to June will give you and it will give you all the necessary details that you need to be able to forecast your production. For the month of July, even running through December. When you keep record, you have what is called credit worthiness. At some point, you will want to apply for grants. A friend of mine got a grant of $100,000 from MasterCard, and it was because she has records. MasterCard visited our office. They checked all our records in the last 5 years. How was she doing? Was she paying the taxes? Is she going through all the necessary statutory requirements of running a business? Is our account records in proper shape? She got a 100,000 grant. I'm talking about this year, maybe a month ago or so. Succession plan. Your business will get to a point where you begin to think, oh, am I handing over to my children? Am I handing over to, am I acquiring new partners and all of that? It gives you credibility. I mean, what makes you a business person is your credibility. I mean, from your records, we can see how you are doing business. You are transparent enough to be able to keep your records so we see whether or not your business has a clean bill of health. Assets and liability management, you can see clearly what your assets are and what your liabilities are. It helps you with risk management. We've talked about all of this. It helps you with investor relations. Suppose you intend to go pitch your business with investors, whether venture capitalists, whether angel investors or whatever, or you're going into any kind of partnership. You want to show them your records. You want to show them that your business is healthy. And these are some of the reasons why you ought to keep records. Employee management. You want to know, when did this employee join the organization? When is he due for promotion? When is he due for reward? Have we paid salaries? All of these records you ought to keep for your own peace of mind, sanity, and for the progress of your business. So we're looking at best practices. Please establish a centralized system. It's better if you have a database, maybe on a system, in a desktop system somewhere where you can always access and make sure you have a backup. I believe by the grace of God, I'll be taking technology in business and we'll be doing so much of justice to the technology part of business. But I'll just run through this. Use of digital tools. You can use accounting softwares like spreadsheet. The Microsoft Excel is there. The Google Sheet is there. You can do your tabling and all of that. You can also create categories of financial records. There should be records, a file for employee. There should be a file for investors and partners. There should be a file for taxes. You should be able to keep your records and give them the appropriate nomenclatures so that you can reference and you can access them each time you need any information. You ought to set a regular schedule where you update these records. It's not about paying tax this year and not paying next year. It's not about updating employee records. And this is where technology comes handy. It's not about updating employee records this month and not updating it next month. It's not about updating customer database this month and forgetting about it next month. There has to be consistency as far as best practices is concerned. These are some of the accounting software. I just listed them here. With the Google tool handy, you can be able to navigate and read about how some of this application works. Most of them are accounting applications. I'm sure you are familiar with some of them. We have QuickBooks, we have Fresh Books, we have Wave, we have Zoho Books, we have our popular Google Excel, we have Google Excel, Microsoft Excel, I mean. We have Google Sheet, which is a contemporary to Microsoft Excel. We even have free receipt and invoicing management apps online now. Some of them have premium parts, and if you have to buy the premium parts, depending on how much of the technology you need. We also have free accounting templates. I think you should become familiar and comfortable with Google. Google has a lot to offer. Google and YouTube has a lot to offer. These are two tools you can't do away with as far as the world of business is concerned, because there are a lot of freebies on these platforms, and it will help you on your journey to entrepreneurship. Benefits of some of these accounting applications, sorry, we're almost there. For the purpose of efficiency, I'm sure you know that. For the purpose of accuracy, there's a volume of data processing you'll be doing that you cannot use your head. You cannot use head knowledge. But technology has made it easy for us that with Excel, you can just leverage a simple formula, equal sign, sum, open brackets, one particular address of an Excel sheet and the last part of the Excel sheet, and hit enter, and it adds up the entire row or column for you. Why do you have to get a calculator and start cracking your brain when there are tools that can do that for you easily? When there are tools that can organize your finances for you, where there are tools, free tools that can organize your invoice. I use a free tool for our invoices at DreamWorks. It's not a paid tool because we don't need the premium part. We just use the free tool. Expensify can do a lot for you in terms of invoicing. So if you are just a starter, there's no point for you, a customer request from you, can you send me a pro forma invoice? There is no point trying to go buy, a premium application. At that level, you are just wasting money. You can use Excel. You can even use Microsoft Word. If you know how to use Microsoft Word very well, you can create tables with Microsoft Word and design your own invoice, and you begin to use it as your own invoice. So some of these things are there, and it is for our efficiency in business. It is for us to be able to attain accuracy as far as business is concerned. It's for us to be able to organize our finances, handle our invoicing, be able to generate financial insights. With basic tools in Excel, you'll be able to know, you'll be able to generate for you insights if you leverage the Visual Basic application tool, if you know about that, to be able to generate insights as to how many people bought this particular product, how many people have paid for this particular product, how many people are owing us, how much of money do we have out there. All of these things are there. And I'm sure that, I'm hopeful rather, that in the technology class, the technology in business class, we'll be able to look at most of these things and learn from them. With these few points of mine, I pray and I hope that you are convinced and not confused that value chain and record keeping are critical success factors as far as the world of business is concerned. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. Dr. Alabi, what do you have to say to our facilitator, Teddy Ayton?
Thank you, Mr. Teddy Ayton. I'm very much thrilled. I think we are very fortunate to have you at this time around. Even I myself have gained a lot because for the incubatees, I'm sure there must be several takeaways from this presentation today, because he has just dissected everything right from the beginning, from the understanding value chain, which involves the primary and the support activities, down to value chain analysis for startups. Then you have the value chain integration and collaboration. Then he did extensively on value chain management, which is the core of the whole thing, right from which is talking about, customer-centric, okay? While the main value chain is product-centric. So I think these are some takeaways which, believe me, is very, very, in fact, he has explained everything, even to the layman on the street, because everything he did was just giving examples of what it is, not actually giving lecture, okay? It's like, although we're not participating, it's like we're actually participating, because he was giving examples, live examples of what we have in our vicinity and our locality, which makes it very, very explanatory to the layman. I'm sure even the record-keeping aspect, talking about even the venture disruption and innovation, talks about it extensively, which I think in any business, I think what we have done today applies to every business, whether corporate or small businesses. And I'm sure at the end of the day, there'll be improvement for all of us. Thank you, Mr. Teddy Ayton. I'm very much impressed with your delivery. Thank you so much, and thank you so much. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm honored, sir.
Yes, thank you. So I think at this time we have student questions now, which for any aspect that we think some explanation, I think this should be the time now. Thank you.
All right, questions. Can you please stop sharing so that we can see them? And thank you so much.
All right, so.
Thank you, sir. We'll stop sharing. And there are a few questions that will be taken. All right, thank you. So over to you, Dr. Alabi.
Okay. So I think we are going to start the question in sequence, okay? So we are going to start, I think we should take it maybe 5 each. Then thereafter, let's take it 5 each. So the first person there will be Jamil Oluwadaminare, then followed by Sodiq. Then who else again? Who else again? Okay, followed by Mr. Lawal, please. Okay, so we can start with Jamil, please. Thank you. Okay, Jamil, please. Let's unmute you so that he can ask his question. Mr. Jamil, please. Okay, Dr. Jamil, please. Okay.
I think he's speaking, but it looks like he can't unmute himself.
Yes. Okay, please. I'm not in control. Please. Dr. Oluwamate, please.
Okay, I want to unmute
Yeah, Oluwadamilare, Dr.
Jamil,
thank
yes.
you. Thank you. I've been trying to give the sign. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I first of all want to join my director and the host or the moderator for today to applaud our guest lecturer for the robust delivery, very rich. We thank you so much, sir. So I always want to look at it from the angle of what we do at the directorate. I am from Southwest Incubation Center, where we do the grassroots recruitment of upcoming entrepreneurs, and we bring them to directorate for proper. And in the process of our recruitment, there are some things I want you to clear for us. You've talked about SWOT analysis, several times during the course of your presentation. Is it possible to include SWOT analysis in a business proposal, such that it will be as rich as that of Coca-Cola you gave as an example? Most of our students, when they want to give SWOT analysis, they just get some messages somewhere and just load it, on the content. And these are students who are still at the proposal stage. They don't even have an idea of the business. They put some things together. So what should be the expectation when you are putting SWOT analysis at the proposal stage? I was thinking that you should focus more on the capacity, on the strength, on the skills, on the knowledge that the students have earlier. So I was trying to juxtapose that with what you presented on Coca-Cola case. So I want you to look at the two cases where, on that SWOT analysis anyway. Then the second question is the issue of SWOT analysis. You mentioned again that it's very important that as big as Coca-Cola is, they still engage in SWOT analysis. Is it possible to contract such assignment out to any organization or somebody or a contractor, a consultant, to do a SWOT analysis of an organization? It's something that is possible. So that's just my questions for now. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, then the next one is Sodiq, please. Can we hear from Sodiq Afolabi? Your contribution and your question, please. Sodiq. Sodiq Afolabi, can you speak? Unmute yourself.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, morning.
Good morning, everyone. My first appreciation goes to the facilitator for today. He really did a wonderful job. Seriously, I must commend this one. So I can't say what I have to say is a contribution, or let me just call it a comment. Because the first thing is this: the way these our facilitator for today presented this thing is an exceptional one, especially as far as ODL learner that we are concerned. This facilitator really speak into the content of what we have for this particular course for today. And I think we really need to pay attention to this kind of presentation for the future presentation as far as this entrepreneurship education is concerned. Because I would suggest that if not more than 50% of the participants don't have the time to go through the material. Of course, this program is supposed to be a flipped class one, but due to work schedule or some other reasons, some people don't have the ability to go through the material before coming to a synchronous class like this. So please, whenever we are having facilitator, they should try as much as possible to speak into the material that we have. That's the first thing. The second thing is regarding the let me just stick to that one, please. That's the major one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Thank you, Sodiq Afolabi. Then the next person is Lawal, please. Lawal, your question, your contribution.
I have a question. Good afternoon, doctors. To the facilitator, Dr. Teddy, I have a big question around how to help traditional small business owners understand the importance of value chain analysis. My background is in family business, and part of the reasons why I temporarily quit working in family business is because, just like you said at the start, some people go through the value chain without really thinking about the value chain. They just go into it unconsciously. So how do you make traditional business owners more aware of the importance of value chain analysis in their small businesses?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lawal. Thank you, Lawal. Then I think we have a Love Hogan hit there. So that's the last person for this role now, for this session. So Love Hogan, please.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for this opportunity. I want to first of all commend the facilitator for today. The class was very interesting. To me, it's a reminder of the things I need to put in place for business growth and expansion. However, I want to give this suggestion in line with what Mr. Jami was trying to throw. Concerning the SWOT analysis. I remember when I did a program with for entrepreneurship, they came up with a template that helped us to design our business plan. And in that template, it was in form of a questionnaire. So that gave us a guide on what this SWOT analysis is extensively about. So you understand where you're picking from, even if you're to go, even for a startup business, somebody without experience, from the questionnaire, it gives you an opportunity to sit down and think of the possible things you can actually choose as your strength, your weakness, and the rest. So if now can come up with something like that for this program, it will help a lot of startups and also people who are also planning to do expansion. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Love Hogan. I think the facilitator will do justice to the questions now. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, I'd like to appreciate everyone for your questions, particularly the comments. I'm humbled and I'm honored to be here. The first person asked a question about the essence of SWOT analysis for beginners. Do you really think that SWOT analysis should be part of what should be considered for someone who is starting a business? And does it have to be as detailed as what Coca-Cola is doing? I decided to use Coca-Cola because, can I use this example, this rough analogy? On a Friday, is this very rough analogy? I don't know how pleasant this will sound, but it's a rough analogy. let's say on a Saturday, as a young person, you get back to home, you get to your house, and you find your father sweeping. He's holding the broom, the traditional broom, and he's sweeping the sitting room. I mean, this is Africa, for an example. That speaks to minimum two things. One, the house is dirty. And the earlier I collect this broom, if my father can be sweeping, I don't have an excuse not to sweep. So if businesses, multinational companies like Coca-Cola are carrying out SWOT analysis, I mean, is it because of their volume? That's not why they are carrying out SWOT analysis. They want to be able to understand where their business is, and where their business began from, where their business is, and where their business is going. So as a new entrant into any market, let's say, for an example, you want to start a pastry business. Should you not identify what your strengths are? You want to enter a market where the market is already saturated. Everybody is baking. The market is already saturated. What is going to be your product differentials from that market? What are you going to be doing differently? Should you not identify what your strengths are so you can leverage your strengths to enter the market properly? So at the very beginning, you ought to sit down. This may not even be part of your business plan. There's need for you to sit down. I understand. I have been part of a team that has recruited at some point for World Bank entrepreneurs, and we took them through the entire life cycle of, raising entrepreneurs, even at UNIDO, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. And because these young people are interested and in a hurry to collect the money, they don't want to go through the rudiments. They don't want to do the basic things that is required to, if you give them templates, they will just populate the templates with whatever it is that they can. And we take our time to painstakingly go through these documents to check whether or not, because you see, whilst it's risky to say this, that even business plan is an assumption, but if you don't have the discipline to be able to go through the process of doing your SWOT analysis, then I don't know how much of discipline you have to be able to confront the world of a business. So I want to encourage that would-be entrepreneurs, student entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs should be allowed, should be encouraged to do basic SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is not for a specialized set of people. What does it do? It only helps you to identify where your strengths are. What are the strengths of your service as compared to competitors? What are the strengths of your product as compared to those who are already in the market? What are the strengths of your product as compared to those who are already established in the market? So these are your strengths. And then if you identify your weaknesses, you know that this is an area we ought to work. When you say weaknesses, it shouldn't sound like a literal word, even though that's what it is. As a business, what are the areas we have not been able to achieve yet? For new entrants into a particular market, you already have a weakness because you are a newcomer, so to speak. So that already is a weakness. And then you know that you need to buckle up, you need to work hard to be able to take a chunk of the market share. Business is both art and science. It is art because there are principles and policies that governs the way business is done. It is science because you must be ready to fold your sleeves and get to work, because the storms of business will hit you. And if you start by lying to yourself, if you start by not knowing what you are supposed to be doing, just because you want to get grants or you want to get investors' money, that's like death on arrival. At the 5th year of our business, I almost packed up. So these are some of the things. So I will not also advise. The second question by the first person who asked the question is, can you contract out SWOT analysis? It is possible to contract out SWOT analysis, but the person must be a business consultant, someone who also understands the basic and the rudiments of your business, someone you have to sit down with, and explain to, and he's willing to learn what it takes, the entire value chain of your business. Otherwise, I would ask that, why don't you sit down with yourself and go through the value chain of your business and then check what areas do we have weaknesses. For an example, I am a tailor. I don't have a weaving machine. For everyone who sews clothes, you will have to do weaving. I now know I have a weakness. I don't have a weaving machine. We talked about partnership and collaboration. Do I need to quickly find out in my area who has a weaving machine, such that once I'm done sewing on my clothes, I gather all my clothes and take it to this person who has a weaving machine until I'm able to acquire a weaving machine. That's a weakness for you. And it could grow into become a threat to your business, because weaknesses will eventually grow to become threats. So you see the point. So whether or not you should contract this out to someone else, if you ask me, I will say sit with someone who is a business consultant. Don't contract. Sit down together. Whilst you're doing what you're doing, the person is advising you. We have a lot of regional coordinators in our different locations for this particular unit, the entrepreneurship departments and general studies. And these are people who have knowledge in this area. Take classes with these people. Let them see the essence of doing what they are doing. Because in the future, you will be confronted with this problem. A problem you postpone today, you will still face tomorrow. Why don't you painstakingly go through the process, the circle, the route, to ensure that all that you need to do before you hit the ground running, you get to do all of these things and you document them. You can always fall back to them each time you are confronted with any challenge whatsoever. For the second, that's all for the first person who asked the question. For the second person, I think his name is Sadiq. Thank you very much. It was more of a compliment. Thank you. I appreciate the compliments. The third person talked about traditional business. Can I tell you something? I don't like mentioning names here because it can be misunderstood. But again, these are examples of what I know. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, how many of us knows him? The former vice president of Nigeria and a presidential candidate of our last election. He has a number of businesses in Nigeria, and he has put some of his children in strategic positions in some of these businesses. This is an information that I have, and I'm not afraid to say it on air because it is something that is what it is. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar brings business consultants to his house for annual retreats every year. He gathers all his children and takes them through business retreats every year in his family. He doesn't want his business to end like some businesses whose name I don't want to mention. There is a man from the Southwest. We don't even hear about his name and his businesses anymore because it was handled like a family business. Namune, everybody, whatever you can get, just take. Atiku is already setting a precedent, setting a standard. He's bringing people from Harvard, even from Nigeria here. One of my bosses was one of the consultants who went to lecture his children on what it takes to run a family business, because the man does not want to die. And when he's dead, everything will go down the drain. So these are examples. So for those who run traditional businesses, that should not stop you from, going through this route of ensuring that you understand the value chain of your business. What you should look at is, what are the benefits of this value chain? The value chain and supply chain management of my business tells me who I am working with, tells me what I'm supposed to be doing, tells me when I'm done doing X, I'm supposed to go to Y. When I'm done doing Y, I'm supposed to go to Z. I mean, that's a plus, not a minus. And it should not be debatable, right? The essence is to help you understand your business from idea conceptualization to the point where you begin to make your first sale. And that's important in business. You see, part of the challenges that we have in business, I was on AIT, when was it? And someone was asking a question. Part of the challenges we have running businesses is that we just want to, some of us have capital. And all we just want to do is, since God has blessed me with $500,000, I'm going to put it into laundry without understanding the value chain of the business. And then along the line, you start experiencing challenges. And like I will always say, all fingers will point towards village people. These village people, when we get to heaven, both them and the devil, they will deny some of the allegations that we placed on them. The devil especially, You will say, this particular business, you didn't tell me where you were going to put it. Did you do feasibility study before you put money in this business? You say it's the devil? The devil will deny so many things in heaven. I'm just waiting, and I hope that I get there. I think the fourth person with more of the comments than I
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Teddy. Thank you so much, sir. I think we have another person there. Olushi, please. Can you ask a question? I think that's the last person we have raising up his or her hands. Okay, Jamil is still on board. Okay, let's have Olushi and Dr. Jamil. Olushi, please. Ask us a question, please. Olushi, please. Olushi, please. Can the host unmute him or her?
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, we can hear you. You have the floor, please.
Okay. I want to thank Dr. Teddy for today's session. Actually, like Mr. Lawal pointed out, he went through the material from start to finish. And if someone was in this class, I don't think we would have any problem with this particular course because he was quite exhaustive. Thank you so much, sir. So during your lecture, you mentioned something about a business being located in a common location where your competitors are, how that is not a problem. You know, I've been thinking about it because looking around, like what I've noticed, I find, you know, this conglomeration of businesses in one place. And then I see how they struggle to get patronage. I see how they struggle to outdo each other. Like I work in a higher institution and I have a shop somewhere in the school. And then there's another location where you have a lot of guys who do printings and all that. When someone is working towards that direction, they all go like, it's like a scramble. They're trying to get you to enter their shop. They're trying to get you to notice them or come to patronize them. And I've been thinking, how is this an advantage? Some people, I'm in Edo State, so some people here go to the point of going diabolical just because they want to ensure that people who come to that area patronize them more than they do others. So I really need to know how this can practically be an advantage. I know that there are two sides to a coin. It may have the positives and the negatives, but I really want to understand how the positives in this instance outweighs the negatives. That's one. Then the second question I want to ask is, for a startup, let's say you have the money and you have experience, and then you already decided on a niche where you think you can thrive, and then you go into that business. I have seen many of them fail. Now, there's one very close. This guy started a school. He's taught for a lot of years. He started with more than 100 students for a school that is new. And then he employed a lot of qualified staff. And then, like after one session, midway through the second year of this institution, this secondary and primary school, the school began to go down because he found it hard to pay the staff, and they got to a point where one of them got angry and came and locked the school gates, and a lot of stress. And eventually, as we speak, that school is less than 2 years old and it's already gone. So, and I don't understand exactly, because this guy had the experience, he had the money, got a good location, he had the number of students that was enviable for a startup, he had teachers. Where did he get it wrong? Because I think it's better we learn from somebody else's experience than before it gets to you. So I really wanted to help me make sense of the first question and the second one. Thank you so much.
Okay, sorry, Oluchi. The second was more like a story. I didn't get the question from the narration. Yes, I understood the narration, but I didn't get the question. What is the question?
Okay, the question is, I'm trying to understand, why did the business that had that kind of fantastic beginning, why did it eventually fail? he was in a good location. He had up to 100 students to begin, which means he did his marketing well. He employed qualified teachers, a good number of them. And then the school still failed in less than 2 years. And he started so well, everybody was applauding him. What could have gone wrong for that business to go down like that so that the rest of us can take a lesson from it?
Okay, thank you, Oluchi. So, Dr. Jamiu, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, yeah, I would still say that we are at the grassroots. We need some guides. In the course GS 302, which is a compulsory course at the university, when we ask students to write business proposal, most of them always want to go for cheap things that, in fact, in some instances, we told them, don't come here with business plan on Gary. Don't come here with business plans on palm oil, liquid soap, all those things. My director will say, look, think, and they come up with something new. Dear sir, we just realized that we are not getting that new thing. And so I want to ask, can we see, is it possible to get, fantastic business proposal from Gary or from liquid soap or from, we feel it has been exhausted. So, but since we could not get any, we tried to just, look at it in a way. As now, say, let me ask if there is a way we can change that trend from students taking that course and putting up that proposal. So let me just say that now. Then again, sir, if I can just, permit me, the question Oluchi asked, if I can say something after, you must have perhaps attend to that question.
Okay, thank you. I think we have Fatima Mohammed and Francis Ekene. Those are the last two. So Fatima Mohammed, please, your question. Those are the last two we'll take. Fatima Mohammed. Fatima Mohammed, please.
Maybe you should go to Ekene, sir, if Fatima is not responding.
Francis Ekene, please. Francis Ekene.
Or are they not able to unmute?
Okay, the host should unmute. Francis Ekene. Francis Ekene, are you speaking?
He has been unmuted. I don't know why he's not talking.
Okay, so I think those are the two, and they're not on board.
We are. Hello, good morning, everyone. Hello, can you hear me now?
Okay, please be smart about it. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yes, my question is related to Ms. Oluchi's question. I was in the direction of if the business model, if you are trying to establish a school where you are not primarily after profits, but creating value, okay? When I say you are not primarily after profits, I don't mean that you are not looking for money at all, but creating value, empowering the future generation to be better or the best version of themselves. And also, for NGOs, there will be a similarity between these two scenarios. When you're trying to establish a school to create value, or you are running a non-governmental organization, non-profit organization, do we have different business models to address these situations, or we still make do with business model, conventional business model as usual? This is my question, sir. Do we have different business models for these categories? When you are talking about you are not concentrated on going into your project or enterprise to create for profits? Do we have a different business model, or the conventional business model still survives? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Fatima Mohammed. So Francis Ikene, the last person. Okay, I think Francis Ikene is talking now. We cannot hear.
Something is wrong with his audio.
Okay, okay. The facilitator, you can take over, so we cannot hear him.
Okay. The first question came from Oluchi, I believe.
Yes, please.
And she wanted to know, I mean, she painted certain pictures and certain scenarios, you know, about competition and all of that. That's typical of Africans. When you're doing the same business and you're in the same location, you know, and then you find people fight, everybody's lobbying and struggling to get customers and all of that. While do you still need to locate your business in a place where you have contemporaries and fellow competitors? Now, I like to start by saying that is not cast on stone. I didn't say that that is cast on stone, that your market positioning must be in a place where you have other competitors or fellow people who do same business or trade with you. That's not what I said. I'm only saying that in terms of collaboration, if you find yourself in that kind of environment, you can leverage collaboration with your partners. And that does not mean that you will be able to collaborate with practically everybody in that environment. So it's not cast on stone. In marketing, there are 5 P's of marketing in business. There's what we call product. There's what we call place. Now, you have a responsibility to identify where you want to situate your business. It does not necessarily have to be where you have your competitors. What should drive your business is, I mentioned a hub when we're talking about value chain integration and collaboration in circumstances or situations where you find yourself where you have competitors around you, that it's not necessarily evil. Now, speaking to the African context, there are so many things wrong with Africa, and I am sorry, but that's the truth. I have had the opportunity to travel a few places, and you will find that what is applicable, the business models that are applicable in certain places may not be workable and feasible in this part of the world. But that is not to say that your business must be in a place where you have fellow competitors. That's not it. Your business must be driven by your customer. If you have a target audience and you have a particular product and you know where you can find your target audience, go and situate your business where your target market is. So you don't necessarily have to go and situate your business where you have competitors. But just in case you find yourself in an environment where the competition is stiff, you can find a way to leverage collaboration. You can find a way to leverage information and resource sharing. And that is not to say that it is everybody who is in that environment that you will do business with or that you will have a relationship with. Again, my examples can be sometimes very funny and hilarious. Some of us belong to families of 3, families of 5. Is it everybody you are talking to? There are siblings who are not talking to each other for 6 months and they are not quarreling. But does that remove the fact that they are bearing the same surname? So if you find yourself in an environment where there is huge competition, you can find a way. That is what it is in practice. And if you can't find anyone who you can interact or relate with in business or collaborate with in business, you can look for other people outside that environment. Your business is your focus. Relationship management just demands that if you find yourself in competition and you can leverage competition to be able to add value to your business, why not? If you can't, I mean, you have to just find a different business model to leverage on. Do you know there are people whose business model is relationship management? They started business on the basis of relationship with people. It was as a result of their relationship with people that they were able to identify what the people need, and they created a product. Created a product out of a relationship, not the reverse. Create a product and push it to people. They created a relationship with people and checked to see what is it that they will want. What is an example? I find myself in a particular estate. A friend of mine, a female friend of mine, found herself in a particular estate. And she said to me, there's so much, I see people running every morning. I said, okay, these people running every morning in your estate. I told her, what are the peculiarities in your estate? She said, I see people, it looks like a lot of people in this estate are conscious about their health. I said to her, can I give you a magic wand? She said, what? I said, start a smoothie business. So she started orange smoothie, mixed fruits, because she discovered the people in that environment. So, I mean, the dynamics are different. You have to look at what your product is. If you have found yourself in an environment that has become toxic, then you should begin to think whether your next bet, your best bet is to leave that environment and go to an environment that is healthier. But it has to be about markets, it has to be about customers, it has to be about making sales. I hope that answers the first question. The second question is, why did that business fail? The school business, why did it fail? I understand from what you said, from the scenario, that that school existed for about 2 years. I don't know at what point you joined us, but if you were in the class from the beginning, at some point I talked about businesses, World Bank statistics, and it is in reality. World Bank statistics spelling clearly that most businesses will fail within the first 5 years of their existence. One of the reasons is because they are not paying attention to value chain. By the mercies of God, I don't know whether I should be saying this online, but I sit on the board of 2 private schools in Abuja. I'm the chairman of the board of 2 private schools in Abuja. I don't own the schools. I was appointed a primary school and a secondary school. And I can tell you how a school works. If your focus is on money to the point where even let me use this as an example. In a business, there's this set of people we call customers. There is a set of people who we call consumers. Sometimes the consumers are the customers. Other times, the consumers are different from the customers. And I give you a clear-cut example very quickly. In a school where you have children, the parents are the customers. Those who pay for the money, who pay for the product, those who pay for the service are the customers. The set of people who consume the products and services are the consumers. Sometimes the consumers are the customers themselves. They consume the product and pay for the product. Now, in this kind of business, you will have to please both the customer and the consumer. In a situation where the consumer and the customer are different, especially where the customer is the one paying for the service, but is the consumer that is consuming the product, you will have to find a way to please one of them. I was in church one day and a parent walked up to me in church and said to me, incidentally, these schools are owned by a church. And the parent walked up to me in the middle of the church after service and said to me, I'm taking my children out of your school. And I said, what's the problem? He said, you need to pay attention to your toilet. He said, my daughter says she doesn't want this school anymore. Now, the parent is not even thinking about whether the school is doing well or not. The consumer simply complained, and the customer says, we are putting an end to our relationship with you. So for a school, if the focus, I know a number of schools, if the focus is on money, 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 buy exercise book, buy uniform, buy a school bag, buy school this, buy inter-house sports kits, buy PE kits, buy shoes from us, buy X from us, and the parents can see that your focus is not about value, and they cannot see results, right? Of course, you will see that they will start pulling out their children one after the other. And the school may end up closing down because the moment you cannot pay your staff, they will start withdrawing one after the other. So many things must have gone wrong. It is possible to have run a school before, but does that make him understand the value chain of what it takes to run a school? Did he carry out a feasibility study? If he did and got 100 students within the first 3 months of inception, couldn't that be just as a result of sales and marketing strategy? When the parents brought their awards, did the content they found as a result of the sales and marketing strategy that attracted them to the business, is it in alignment? There are businesses that have great, beautiful marketing and sales strategy, but the product is not what it says it is. So a lot of things could have gone wrong. A lot of things could have been the reason. Does he have a management team that he listens to? Does he hold management meetings? There are so many things you can look at that can go wrong with a school. But the moment the focus shifts from creating value and adding value on the children to the point where these children can go back home and tell their parents that I love my school, then I am sorry, you are just at the mercy of God, so to speak. So that's that for the first question. Mr. Jamiu, please, Mr. Jamiu or Dr. Jamiu, I'm sorry, I can't remember. Is it possible to get some fantastic business proposal from old business offering? Some of your students and incubatees, they keep bringing business proposals on Gary, they keep bringing business proposals on palm oil, and so on and so forth. Let me use this story to answer that question because our time is fast spent. About 2 years ago, I was invited by my older brother to somewhere, an environment that brings so many people together. And in this environment, 1 or 2 people were threatening to leave. And he says to me, the person lost his job, he's been struggling, he wants to pull out of the association or the group because he's not benefiting anything from it and all of that. Can I talk to him? So after their program or their meeting, I sat back and I spoke with him. I didn't waste my time talking about how that he had lost a job. And I asked him, what are you doing now? What are you selling now? What product are you selling? You sell products, you sell services, you offer services. All of that is English. But what you are simply doing is that you're selling something. And that's one key thing that must register in our hearts, and that you must have a paying customer. And he said to me, what I've been doing recently is that cashew nuts. I package cashew nuts and I sell them to people. And then I asked him, where do you source your cashew nut from? He says, he was sketchy about it. And I said, well, I live in Abuja and I can connect you. I've had a back and forth in Benue State. I have a few people who I know. I know a group of farmers who I can connect with you that will supply you raw, the cashew nuts that you need. And he said, do I even know that different kind of people? And I don't know, an idea just struck me. And I said, can you start doing different tastes or different, I don't know what women call it. I can't remember that. Different tastes or different varieties of cashew nuts. So he started ginger cashew nuts, peppered cashew nuts, all kinds of adornments, all kinds of things to make the cashew nut different. Today you have yogurt, you have pineapple yogurt, you have apple yogurt, you have, yogurt is milk, but just to create different product portfolios. People are, you are now find people creating apple yogurt, pineapple yogurt, orange yogurt, all kinds of yogurts, just so that they can have different product offering and product portfolio. So if someone says to you, or if your students bring, if all they do is bring Gary, tell them that there are different value chains in the cassava. In the cassava value chain, there are different components. There's what we call the starch. Even in the starch, we have cold starch and hot starch. We have the Gary value chain. We have the starch value chain. We have the cassava flour value chain. We have cassava flour for food, cassava flour for bread. So you can always, innovate and create a business model around the same thing. All you need to do is just force them to think. I'm speaking to Mr. Jamiu's question. Somebody comes and said, palm oil. Is that the only value chain in the palm oil? Are there no other aspects of palm oil value chain that they can leverage on? It can be processing only. It can be production. It can be packaging. It can be distribution. I had the privilege to visit a farm in Porto Novo. Porto Novo is in Benin Republic, a neighboring country in Nigeria here, close to Nigeria here. I had the opportunity to visit a farm called Songhai Farms. Songhai Farms is owned by a Reverend Father in Zamuje. I was in that farm for about 1 week to understudy what they were doing. They have what they call zero waste and zero tolerance, such that even chaffs from maize is a feeding system or a feed for some of their animals. So nothing wastes at Songhai Farms. You can Google it, Songhai Farms. Songhai Farms is now in Nigeria. Reverend Nzamuje left Nigeria because he didn't get a plot of land. But when he got to Porto Novo in Benin Republic, they gave him a massive plot of land. He's into both animal husbandry and even plants. There is zero waste in that place. Anything that becomes a waste, if you peel the back of banana, it is a feeder into another thing. If you peel maize, if you peel beans, the chaff from beans is used to feed their birds. Everything, one product, one output is a feeding system into another input. So there is a way around this. I also had the privilege as a facilitator on the World Bank to train farmers or the agricultural value chain for the Appeals project. And I had the opportunity to train a lot of farmers. And there are different things you can do with different things. You just need to force these students to begin to think outside the box, because all they want to do is just go through the incubation process. Their target is, if maybe you are giving them some kind of grants, they just want, they are not ready to go through the process. They are not ready to do the proper documentation. They are starting with the end in mind, and this time the wrong end. They are starting with the finances in mind. And most of them give them money today. In the next 2 to 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, they don't even know what to do with the money. I won a World Bank grant in 2013. I won a World Bank grant. I won 10 million naira from World Bank. And it was with that I started my company. And you will not believe it, over 70% of those of us who won that grant, our businesses are packed up. Because I had people who collected their grants. Some collected 7 million, 10 million. One bought a Peugeot car immediately. One bought a Toyota Camry immediately. One bought, different people were buying different. One went to get married with the grants they gave to him. So a lot of young people, it's about the money. It's not really about the journey to entrepreneurship. So there is need to painstakingly make them go through it and get them to think and to think outside the box. And I'm sure that if they can do that, it will be fine. Fatima Mohammed, I think, was the last person, asked a question on business model. A business model for a non-profit or a not-to-profit. There is a new business model to that. Now, there's what is referred to as social enterprise or social entrepreneurship. In social entrepreneurship, you are solving social problems. If you are fully an NGO or a civil society organization, it has a business model, because the business model, incidentally, again, in the last 15 years, I have consulted for several NGOs and social enterprises in Abuja, including USAID, including World Bank, including United Nations. And so I can speak to this. Fatima or Madam Fatima, please. If you are an NGO, then you are an NGO. You should expect that your grants and your funding will come from external funders. USAID has a lot of projects in Nigeria. One of it is Heartland Alliance. Heartland Alliance does not sell any product. It does not provide any service. USAID strictly funds them. They have a grants manager who raises a budget. You raise the budget, you send the budget to your funding organization, they give you your budget, they provide the funding for the next 5 years. There's a project on the World Bank called the Appeals Project. It had a timeline of 5 years. And after 5 years, it was expected that after peer review mechanism, they will have executed all that it was meant to execute within those 5 years. And after 5 years, the project shuts down. So if you are doing a full-fledged non-governmental organization or non-profit organization, then most times your funding will come from MacArthur Foundation, USAID, a Center for Disease Control, T.Y. Danjuma. Those are major funding organizations that funds NGOs. There is another arm of non-profit. It is called social entrepreneurship. In social entrepreneurship, you don't do it for profit. You just make sure that whatever service or product that you are providing is at a discounted rate such that the organization is self-funding. The monies you are generating is to keep the organization running, because the whole idea and vision of that organization is to meet a social need. I'll give you an example. I have a lawyer friend in Lagos. I will not want to mention her name. She has a social enterprise. What the social enterprise does is that it provides sanitary towels for young girls in rural areas, because they discover that they have challenges in that area, especially in IDP camps. Now, if a sanitary towel, I'm sorry, this is one of the easiest examples I can remember because I'm aware of it. If a sanitary towel costs 5,000 naira per one, she provides them at 8,500, because the whole idea is not to make profits. The whole idea is to meet a social need. And the money collected is just to keep producing to be able to meet the needs of these people. So a social enterprise might not necessarily make profits, but it should have returns on investment that will make it self-preserved and self-sustaining. That in itself is a business model. My number is on the last page of my presentation, if you got it. If there's any way you need to talk to me about anything, you can boss me on WhatsApp. Maximum 24 hours, I will reply or respond to any WhatsApp message. This is where I can draw the curtain as far as these questions are concerned. I want to thank you, everyone, for your time. I believe it's a time well spent. Thank you.
We should say a big thank you to you. I can see them clapping for you. Can you please clap, electronic hand clapping for our facilitator? Kept us here for 2.5 hours, 2 hours. We started 10 o'clock and this is 2:12.
It's
About, yeah, this 1 o'clock. I can't believe that. 3 hours. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to meeting you at Technology and Business Management. And yes, which is your passion and your core area as well. For participants, please remember that you're going to take quiz and on the platform, and your assignment right now is on the platform. So it's so easy for you now. You can upload. Is Alima in the class? Just demonstrate something very shortly. Alima, can you put on your video so that we can just set you on to show them very, very briefly, less than 2-3 minutes. Remember to fill your attendance. Is Alima there, please? Hello, Alima. If you don't put on your video, you won't come here. I won't see you. All right. I think that platform is very simple, very easy. Is anybody confirming it to be so? 26 of you uploaded your NEEO2 on that platform. I looked at it this morning. Okay, yes. What's his name? Lawal agree with me that platform is easy. Attendance is still there. So thank you so much, Dr. Teddy, for the robust facilitation you did this morning. Thank you so much also, Dr. Jacob, for being our rapporteur this afternoon.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, sir.
Dr. Jamil, thank you for your attendance. Who again is there that I should acknowledge? All right, we've had a long day. I want you to please go back. Attendance, somebody post it for us again. Oh, somebody has just done so. Thank you, Benson. On behalf of my team, I want to say a big thank you to you for waiting. We still have 52 after 3 hours. That's encouraging. What is important is that everything that has been said please begin to think about how you should, you have done your entrepreneurial thinking, you have your creativity, what you want to create and innovate on. Today, we're looking at value chain, where, you know, you should be able to come up with your niche advantage and come up with something. Your assignment is in that sphere. So you are going to choose a startup and look at the value chain. Some few questions you should answer in that regard with respect to today's teaching. So it will set you thinking. It's a practical question that you should apply this teaching with. So thank you very much. See you on Thursday, same time, 10 o'clock. Bye-bye for now. Thank you, Dr. Teni, again and again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much, sir. My pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye for now.
Thank you, sir.